Chapter 1887. So many people want my life. This is good news. Hearing this, Xiaoping's eyes lit up. His mind immediately became active, and he was very excited. Good news! Green Ox's and Corinne's mouths twitched, and they were speechless. They had never seen such a person before. Hearing that so many people wanted his life, and that many top factions had joined forces to search every inch of the way, it was shocking. Faced with such a situation, ordinary people would have long been scared out of their wits. But now this kid was actually in high spirits. The artifact's spirit Brahma, was also dumbfounded. He did not understand his new master at all. He seemed to be a little beyond imagination and unfathomable. If I can think of a way to lure this group of people over to help me deal with the group of abyssal demons, then I will be the one to reap the benefits. Xiaoping rubbed his chin and immediately thought of a good idea. Thinking of this, he immediately logged into the universe virtual network and used Wu Wudi's identity to directly send a message to everyone. I heard that many people want to kill me, but they can't find my whereabouts. This is very boring. Then I, Wu Wudi, can give everyone a chance. I'm at XX place. If you have the ability, come and kill me. Once this message came out, it immediately shook the creation map of heavens. Countless humans and creatures of countless races knew about it, and the news spread at the speed of light. After all, Wu Wudi's name had long been known in this place. Who knew how many people wanted to find Wu Wudi's whereabouts and kill him for the bounty? Unfortunately, after 2 weeks, no one could find Wu Wudi's whereabouts. They could not help but feel a little discouraged. They felt that the kid's ability to hide his whereabouts was too strong. There was no hope of finding him, and they wanted to give up. But just as they were about to give up, the person in question actually dared to appear in front of everyone and say where his true body was. It was too exaggerated. That universe's most wanted criminal Wu Wudi has appeared. He directly posted on the virtual network and said where his true body is. Is that for real? That kid is completely crazy. Is he tired of living? He doesn't know how many people want to kill him now. Once they know where his true body is, he'll definitely die. This news must be fake. Who would be so stupid? Even if they were tired of living, they wouldn't send someone to kill them. I think this might be fake news. Someone is pretending to be Wu Wudi. Someone dares to impersonate Wu Wudi? He's the one who's truly tired of living. This is an act that will incur the wrath of the masses. Once it's discovered, he'll probably be beaten to death as well. At once, the universe virtual network was filled with discussions. They were all completely shocked by this news. However, they were still doubtful, not knowing if this news was real or fake. After all, there was a lot of fake news in the virtual network. It was also possible that someone was impersonating Wu Wudi and spreading rumors. In fact, there were quite a few people who had been tricked by the rumors. Sometimes there were rumors on the internet that Wu Wudi might appear somewhere. But when they rushed over, they found nothing. They had been completely fooled. Xiaoping was also aware of this situation, so he immediately took out all sorts of treasures. These treasures were obtained from Taoist extreme evil and the other disciples of the Palace of Darkness, as well as Lei Yundong and the other thunder demons. They were also their unique life treasures. He continued, "Everyone might not believe my true identity, but that's fine. These are the treasures I obtained from those I defeated. This should be enough to prove my identity. Don't doubt my motive for revealing my location. I'm just bored and too lonely. I'm sure everyone doesn't understand the loneliness of being invincible. No matter how strong an enemy is, I can kill them with one punch. That emptiness of being invincible makes me very uncomfortable. My entire body has become an empty shell, leaving behind only my handsome skin. I only have one request for all of you who are hunting me. Come and kill me, or be killed by me." As soon as this was said, it was like a stone that caused 1,000 ripples, causing countless people to be in an uproar. That's right. These treasures are Junior Brother Extreme Evil's life treasures. I'm a disciple of the Palace of Darkness, and I've seen them before. Oh my god, that's the life treasure of Lei Yundong, the young master of the Thunder Demon clan, the Purple Thunder Spear. There's no mistaking it. That means this kid is the real Wu Wudi. Otherwise, there's no way he could have these treasures. taking 10,000 steps back. Even if it's not Wu Wuti, it must be someone closely related to Wu Wuti. How else could he have obtained these treasures? After watching the video, everyone immediately believed Xiaoping's words. After all, if it wasn't Wu Wuti himself, the treasures on Taoist extreme evil, and the others would not have fallen into his hands. Arrogant. This kid is too arrogant. Is he planning to challenge all the experts in the world and fight one against 10,000? Who does he think he is? He named himself Wu Wuti. He really thinks he's invincible. Some people were completely infuriated by Xiaoping's words. They felt that this kid was too arrogant. He was planning to challenge all the experts in the universe and think he was invincible. He said he only has one goal, and that is to be beaten to death by everyone. What an arrogant person. He really thinks he's an invincible expert. Does he think we're all vegetarians? Some people were fuming with anger. He had never seen such an arrogant person. To be honest, he had seen many arrogant people. Basically, all geniuses had this problem. They looked down on others and had their eyes on the top of their heads. However, this was the first time he had seen someone so arrogant that he wanted all the experts in the universe to beat him to death. How arrogant! At that moment, the people from the Palace of Darkness also heard the news. They immediately flew into a rage. Even the geniuses of our Palace of Darkness, the two holy lands of the human race, would not dare to say such things. How dare this kid do this? How much does he look down on our Palace of Darkness? Beat him to death. Since he wants to die, let's fulfill his wish. Move immediately. Beat this Wu Wuti until he's crippled. Let him know the power of the Palace of Darkness. Stupid to the extreme. He doesn't know how high the sky is. Let this kid see the power of the Palace of Darkness. It's definitely not something he can imagine. Many of the Palace of Darkness disciples were so furious that they were fuming with rage. According to their thinking, since this kid was wanted by the Palace of Darkness and had become the target of everyone, he should be hiding like a rat on the street and not dare to show himself. But now this guy was too arrogant. Not only did he not hide, but he also jumped out and said that he wanted them to beat him to death. No one could stand such an arrogant attitude. Chapter 1888. At this time, the Thunder Goblin clan also received the news. Wu Wuti has appeared and posted on the virtual network. Bastard, he's wanted by our Thunder Goblin clan, yet he dares to show himself. Is he tired of living? He's tired of living. Not only did he show himself, but he also took the initiative to reveal his location and ask us to kill him. Crazy, this human is completely crazy. Does he want to die so badly? All the Thunder Goblins were dumbfounded. Although they could not wait to find Wu Wuti's location immediately, they did not expect such a thing to happen. There was actually someone who took the initiative to show himself and reveal his identity. He was courting death. They had chased and killed many enemies, but they had never seen such a type. For a moment, they did not know how to react. After all, they had never experienced such a thing before. Kill him, kill this bastard immediately. He actually dared to jump out and ask to be killed. I've never seen such a request in my life. If I don't kill him this time, I'll commit suicide. However, Patriarch Lei Bao was different. After hearing the news, he immediately flew into a rage, especially when he saw that Wu Wuti was holding his son Lei Yundong's magic treasure. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. His eyes were red, and his body exuded a terrible murderous aura, causing cracks in the void. No one could imagine the rage in its heart at that moment. It wanted nothing more than to rush in front of Wu Wuti and tear this damned human into pieces. It wanted to exterminate his entire clan, and even dig out his ancestors and grind their bones into ashes. Patriarch, there may be a trap. That human is despicable and shameless. There may be a trap. With the Thunder Goblin Elder's advice, he still felt uneasy and suspected that there was a trap. Trap my ass. Even if it's a trap, I'll go and kill him. I don't believe that little bastard has any trap that can do anything to me. Lei Bao sneered. In the face of absolute strength, any trap would be a joke. Moreover, this was a rare opportunity. The other party had taken the initiative to show himself. If he missed this opportunity, and the kid slipped away, He did not know when he would be able to find him again. Therefore, he would definitely not miss this opportunity. Let's go. Lei Bao shouted. Yes, Patriarch. The numerous lightning demonic beasts didn't hesitate, and immediately set off with their patriarch. They were bold and confident, and they felt that they were part of the lightning demonic clan, a clan that controlled lightning, and was peerlessly formidable. Even if there was a trap, they wouldn't be afraid. There was still a power that could kill them, but that human brat clearly wasn't qualified. He didn't have that power. In addition to the Palace of Darkness and the Thunder Goblin tribe, the Wolf tribe, the Luohan tribe, the Angel tribe, the Thousand Poison sect, the Black Heaven sect, the Ancient Moon sect, and the Heaven Reflection sect also received the news. Is Wu Wuti out of his mind? You actually took the initiative to reveal your location? What's wrong with you? Even that guy isn't wrong. I've never seen such a treacherous person. The number of people who have been deceived by him is innumerable. Even dozens of planets wouldn't be able to fit him. That's right. That guy was a famous swindler when he first started his career. He even cheated children of their money. He has no conscience at all. This time he suddenly jumped out. There must be a trap. Yes, this time it must be a trap. That bastard set up a trap for us to go over. We can't go. Bullshit, we have to go. If we don't go this time, how are we going to find his whereabouts? That guy's concealment skills are unparalleled. Until now, no one knows his true appearance. To be honest, this is an overt plot. That kid is certain that we will definitely come, so he deliberately said this. Even if there really is a trap in that place, we have to go. Indeed. When I think about how that kid is certain to get us back, I'm very unhappy. I'm filled with anger. Don't worry. This time, it's not just us who will go to kill Wu Wuti. A bunch of other forces will go, and the number of people will be frightening. Even if that kid has set up a huge trap, it's impossible for him to kill so many people. This time, I want that bastard to get the chicken dinner without losing anything. Everyone gritted their teeth. They also suspected that the bastard Wu Wuti must have set up a trap for them to go over. His purpose was to trick them, which was why he was so brazen. However, even if they suspected, there was nothing they could do. They still had to go. After all, the hatred between them was too great. Even if there was a small chance, they would not give up. Perhaps that was the reason why that kid was fearless. Whoosh, whoosh. Thinking of this, they immediately made a decision to go to the place that Wu Wuti had pointed out. However, these people were not completely defenseless. They all called their friends and formed groups. They calculated all kinds of Dharma treasures and prepared all kinds of life-saving items. Once they arrived at the place, if anything went wrong, they would immediately escape. They would definitely not give that kid a chance to harm them. They were already fully prepared, and there was no room for error. On the other hand, Xiaoping also saw the turbulence in the virtual network. He knew that his provocation plan had completely succeeded. When the time came, there would probably be countless enemies coming to this place. I have to be prepared. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. Although he planned to lure this group of people into a trap, they were all sly and cunning people. They would not be so easily fooled. Therefore, he decided to immediately set up many restrictive array formations in the surroundings. After setting up array formations, he would slowly lure this group of people into the real trap. Yes, first, I'll use the Flaming River 9-tune array. It contains 9 types of exceptional fires of heaven and earth. Xiaoping touched his chin. Next, I'll use the 5 elemental thunder tribulation array. I'll gather the 5 elemental thunder of heaven and earth and launch a series of attacks. Next, I'll use the heavenly cycle stellar array. I'll gather the power of 360 stars to defeat the strong enemies. Finally, I'll use the peach blossom miasma illusion array to trap this group of people in an endless illusion. They will not be able to distinguish between reality and illusion. This way, they will be at a loss. That's right, I have to fuse with the restrictive array formations of this bound of heaven and earth. I have to blend into the void and hide my aura. This way, those people will not be able to see where the restrictive array formations are. I can catch them off guard and catch them off guard. He planned to set up a large array formation. This was also a very good opportunity to practice array formations. This kind of action also gave him a deeper understanding of array formation knowledge, and it allowed him to achieve mastery through comprehensive study. Moreover, he had obtained countless array formation materials from the demon realm. Using up a portion this time was not a big deal. It was just a drop in the ocean. It was too small. He could squander it without limit. Chapter 1889. A day later, groups of forces quickly arrived in the starry sky near the black-yellow continent. They were very close to this place, so they quickly arrived without any trouble. As soon as they arrived, they immediately discovered a figure sitting cross-legged in the dark void. He stood in the void like a god, his eyes closed and motionless. This person was the legendary Wuxia. What an arrogant brat. I thought he was pretending to be ignorant, and that it was fake news. I didn't expect it to be true. He even dared to appear in this place alone. What an arrogant brat. The group of people could not hide the shock in their hearts. They had only come here to watch the show. If there was a chance, they would take the opportunity to obtain the bounty. They did not expect the news on the internet to be true. Wuxia had really appeared here alone. This is a good chance. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. As long as we kill this kid, we can immediately become rich overnight. Kill him. Someone's eyes were bloodshot. He could not suppress the killing intent in his heart, and wanted to kill and snatch the treasure. Stop. Are you an idiot? Before that person could make a move, he was held down by a few of his companions. They scolded. If this kid was so easy to kill, he would have been killed many times over. This person deliberately spread the news on the internet and revealed his true location. There must be a huge conspiracy. There might be a trap around him, and getting close to him will only lead to death. It doesn't matter if you want to die, but don't drag us down with you. These companions warned this greedy person. That person's hair stood on end. All the greed in his mind disappeared, and was replaced by a clear state. He immediately became afraid of Wuxia. It was indeed as his companions had said. This Wuxia was famous, vicious, cunning and vicious. He was a universe-level wanted criminal who killed people without batting an eyelid. How could he appear here to die so easily? There must be a trap. If he foolishly rushed over, he might be killed by Wuxia with a single punch. He would fall right into his opponent's trap. He looked at the people around him. Everyone had a regretful look on their faces, as if they were regretting not looking for trouble with Wuxia. They could have used this opportunity to test Wuxia's strength. Damn it, they're all a bunch of swindlers. They don't want to die, but they want me to go. Thank you for reminding me, brothers. Otherwise, I would have really fallen into the trap. That person immediately shed tears of gratitude towards his companions. Fortunately, he didn't stupidly stick his head out. Although the treasures were good, he still needed to be alive to take them. It's good that you know. In short, we'll just watch from the side and not get involved in this mess. It won't be too late for us to hit that brat when he's down. Several of his companions expressed their opinions. Of course, that person nodded his head vigorously, expressing his agreement. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. After the arrival of the first group, other groups and smaller groups arrived one after another. Soon the dark true void was filled with people. They were at least at the aspect realm, and had condensed a heaven and earth aspect. There were also some lightning tribulation mighty figures. However, when these people arrived and saw Xia Ping's expressionless face, as he sat there cross-legged in the air like a god, they immediately felt fear. They were even wary of each other. After all, although their main target this time was Wuxia, the problem was that these forces were not familiar with each other, and some even had grudges. Who knew whether or not someone next to them would suddenly plot against them? Therefore, the groups maintained a certain distance from each other, and no one dared to make the first move. In the blink of an eye, the groups had reached a stalemate, and none of them dared to make a move against Xia Ping. They exchanged glances, as if they were waiting for someone else to make the first move. What's wrong? Xia Ping suddenly opened his eyes and looked around calmly. None of you dare to make a move? I'm standing right here alone and weak. You're welcome to come and beat me to death. After a moment passed, they still didn't make a move. In fact, they were even more afraid of Xia Ping, worried that there might be some sort of trap in the area. None of them dared to make a move, A bunch of gutless bandits. If you don't have the guts to make a move, then screw off. Don't be an eyesore. Xia Ping clasped his hands behind his back. What the hell? This brat is too arrogant. He even said he's welcome to come and beat him to death. I can't stand him for another second. I'm going to kill him right now. Seeing Xia Ping's look of disdain, someone could not take it anymore and flew into a rage. But before he could make a move, he was immediately suppressed by his companions. Brother, calm down. You must calm down. There must be a trap around this brat. This bastard is trying to goad us into action. Don't fall for it. Yes, this person is a peerless devil, even more ferocious than the demons of the abyss. Don't fight him for now. When the main group arrives, we'll teach him a lesson. Let his soul fall into the Avicii hell and suffer for eternity. Don't be angered by him. At this moment, a bald monk walked out. He wore a yellow cassock and put his palms together, exuding the aura of an enlightened monk. His magical power had reached the early stage of the Thunder Retribution realm, and behind him were 7 or 8 Buddhist monks, all of them at the peak of the Dharma plane. Master, you're right. I was almost angered by this devil. Fortunately, Master, you enlightened me and saved my life. May I know your Dharma name? That person immediately put his palms together to express his gratitude and suppressed his anger. I'm Jianu, the monk in the yellow cassock said. So it's Master Jianu. Everyone was in awe. Those with the surname Jia were all elder-level masters in Buddhism. Their magical power was profound and unfathomable, and they were famous in the universe. Tui, damn bald donkey, don't pretend. At this moment, Xia Ping spat out a mouthful of saliva that contained powerful magical power. It pierced through the void like a laser, instantly flying towards Master Jianu's smooth head. With a smack, that mouthful of saliva, no phlegm, landed accurately on his head. At that moment, everyone was stunned. They were completely stunned. They had not expected something like this to happen. They were caught off guard, and no one was able to catch this action. Wu Wuti had actually spat through the air and landed on Master Jianu's body. Master, are you alright? The man in blue widened his eyes and looked at Master Jianu. I'm fine. It's just a mouthful of phlegm. That devil thinks that he can anger me with such petty tricks. He's underestimating me. I've been cultivating in Buddhism since I was young. I've read tens of thousands of scriptures, experienced the various aspects of life, and purified thousands of devils. I've lived for 35,736 years. There's nothing I haven't experienced. This is just child's play. The corner of Master Jianu's mouth twitched. He was furious, but when he saw the expectant eyes of the crowd, he calmed down. He pinched an orchid in his hand and pretended to be calm. With a kind smile on his face, he did not even touch the phlegm. It was as if nothing had happened. Chapter 1890. Before he could finish his sentence, a stone flew over with a swoosh. It was about the size of a thumb, and was silent at an unbelievable speed. No one could react in time. Dong! Immediately, the pebble accurately smashed into Master Jianu's head. A huge bump appeared on his head, and the pebble was instantly shattered into pieces. Master Jianu was dumbfounded. He did not expect that bastard to hit him with a stone. That bastard knew that he could not be killed, but he did it anyway. It was a provocation, a clear provocation. Someone saw this and immediately cursed, standing up for Master Jianu. Wu Wuti, you're too much. How dare you humiliate Master Jianu with such petty tricks? Do you have any sense of morality in the pugilistic world? Come at me openly if you have the guts. That's right, Wu Wuti. You're a coward. Master Jianu is an eminent monk. How could he be angered by a despicable demon like you? Give it up. A group of people shouted angrily, glaring at Xia Ping in the distance. Amitabha, everyone please calm down. This is just the demon's final struggle. This proves that he's at his wit's end, and is at his wit's end. That's why he resorted to such childish tricks. Master Jianu waved his hand and said calmly, Do you think that a small stone can make an enlightened monk like me lose my mind and get angry? You've underestimated the self-restraint that I've cultivated for 35,736 years. My heart is as still as water and as clear as a mirror. There are no ripples at all. He stood with his hands behind his back, as if nothing had happened. As expected of Master Jinnu, an eminent monk of Buddhism, such self-restraint is really high. We can't compare. He's indifferent even after being humiliated like this. It's impossible not to speak ill of him, without tens of thousands of years of cultivation. I've learned a lesson, I've really learned a lesson. Only someone like Master Jinnu can be considered a true master. Although the others have good cultivation, their self-restraint is extremely low. They speak ill of others at the drop of a hat. They're just boorish people who won't be respected. I sensed a Buddhist aura in front of the master. That's the presence of a true Buddha. Seems like there's hope for him to become a sage. Everyone was filled with admiration and reverence. Before he could finish his words, another black stone the size of a watermelon smashed over from afar. Like a meteor, it streaked across the sky, carrying with it a terrifying aura. Dong! The rock then smashed into Master Jinnu's head. In an instant, the entire rock was shattered into pieces by his protective power. However, a large amount of debris fell on his body, making him look very pathetic. Master! Everyone was stunned as they looked at Reverend Jinnu. They had not expected Wu Wudi's repeated provocations to be directed at Reverend Jinnu. He wanted to slap him in the face on the spot. Wu Wudi, that's enough. You're always picking on Master Jinnu. If you have the guts, come at me. That bastard knows that Master Jinnu won't get angry, so he keeps causing trouble. This is bullying the weak and fearing the strong. He only knows how to bully the weak. Despicable and shameless. A group of people shouted, their emotions surging. Foolish child, form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. Nothing can be done without form. Everything in the world is but an illusion, a rock the size of a watermelon. You won't be able to anger me by doing this. Demon, repent and become a Buddha. Reverend Jinnu put his palms together. But when he said those words, his expression was a little stiff and ferocious. Swoosh! Before he could finish speaking, another rock smashed over. However, this was no ordinary rock. It was a huge meteorite with a diameter of 500 kilometers, like a small planet. This meteorite contained powerful dermic powers. It enveloped the entire body and tore through the air, smashing directly at Reverend Jinnu's head. Before the people around him could react, Reverend Jinnu immediately exploded. He flew into a rage and cursed. Wu Wudi! I'll screw your mother and all your ancestors. Do you really think that I don't have a temper? I've already smashed it 2 or 3 times, and you still want to smash it again. This time, you're even more outrageous. You threw a meteorite at me. That's too much. Even Buddhas have flames. Dong! He leaped into the air and smashed his fist, instantly smashing the meteorite into pieces and shattering it completely. Reverend Jinnu, why are you angry? Didn't Buddha say to forgive? If someone slaps your left cheek, you should put your right cheek forward, and let him slap you as well, forgiving all their sins? Xiaoping said calmly. Forgive my ass. That's what those birdmen from the angel clan said. It has nothing to do with Buddha. I'll send you to Buddha now. Reverend Jinnu was furious. Balls of golden Buddhist light erupted from his body, and a Dharma form of heaven and earth formed behind him. It was a glaring Vajra, and terrifying flames of rage erupted from his body. It was like the Buddhist karmic fire that could burn everything. That kid is finished. He actually dared to anger Elder Jinnu. He doesn't know that Elder Jinnu has cultivated the glaring Vajra magic. The angrier he is, the more terrifying his Buddhist magic will be. With his anger as his foundation, he won't die until his anger is completely burned. He'll fight to the death and won't rest until he's dead. This is the wrath of Buddha. A Buddhist monk revealed some information about Reverend Jinnu Rumble. Reverend Jinnu charged forward. His entire body was golden, as though he was cast from gold. Buddhist runes covered his entire body, as though scriptures had covered his entire body. Every inch of his body contained terrifying Buddhist power. No evil spirit could get close to him. The Dharma form of heaven and earth behind him was glaring Vajra. It was 3,000 feet tall, and its golden hands came crashing down. It was as though it wanted to shatter the void and set off boundless waves. Reverend, anger won't solve any problems. You'd better calm down. Xiaoping activated the 9 heavens mysterious underworld force within him. balls of white cold air gushed out from his body, instantly covering a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers. It turned into a vast white world, as though everything had been frozen. This was no ordinary cold air. It was the Xianming cold air that he had obtained from the ice demon saint. He had melted it into his body, multiplying the power of the 9 heavens' mysterious underworld force. It could even extinguish ordinary extraordinary flames. All living creatures that came into contact with the Xianming cold air would be frozen and unable to move. What? Reverend Jianu was shocked. He could naturally sense how terrifying this Xianming cold air was. It was as though it was absolute ice from the depths of the ice dimension, capable of freezing everything. Although the Buddhist hellfire on his body was extremely terrifying and could burn all demons to death, the problem was that it was just an illusory flame. It could only target karma and not real matter. This was also the biggest weakness of the Buddhist hellfire. In an instant, Reverend Jianu did not even have time to react. He did not even have the chance to make a move before his entire body was frozen by the Xianming cold air. He was turned into a huge human-shaped ice sculpture. He stood in the void, as though he was an eternal Buddha sculpture. Chapter 1891. Elder Jianu. When the Buddhist monks saw this, their eyes widened. They did not expect Reverend Jianu to be subdued so easily by Wu Wuti, and be frozen so easily. This was far beyond their expectations, and they panicked. After all, Master Jianu was an elder of the Buddhist sect. If he was killed today, it would be an unbearable loss for the Buddhist sect. Demon, let Master Jianu go immediately. Kill. Buddhist divine ability Prajna Palm. Vajra Finger. Arhat Fist. The group of Buddhist monks was enraged. They immediately used their various divine abilities, and the Dharma of Buddhas quickly condensed behind them, absorbing the essence chi of the world within 3,000 miles. Terrifying Buddhist power gathered, and faint Sanskrit sounds could be heard. Buddhist divine abilities attacked Xia Ping in an attempt to force him back and save Master Jianu. Xianming sky 3 feet freeze. Xia Ping stood in place and did not move. He struck out with his palm, and the dermic powers in his body surged. The Xianming frost chi within 300 million kilometers surged like a raging sea, making loud noises. The Xianming frost chi swept over like a storm, sweeping across the world. Rumble. In an instant, the Buddhist divine abilities of the dozen or so Buddhist sages were all destroyed. The power of their divine abilities was shaken into a ball of essence chi, and at the same time, the terrifying Xianming frost chi invaded their lungs and every cell. In the next second, the group of Buddhist monks turned into ice sculptures. Everyone could see the various emotions of the monks before they were frozen. Perhaps it was fear, anger, reluctance, or disbelief. Countless emotions floated on the surface, vivid and lifelike. Wu Wuti lives up to his name. He's too powerful. Are you kidding me? He's only at the early stage of the transcendence realm. Even a tribulation realm cultivator might not have such strength. I heard that Wu Wuti once received Saint Panwu's inheritance and a Panwu true scripture. He trained his dermic powers to an unfathomable level. Damn it, how did this kid get Saint Panwu's inheritance? It's so unfair. Putting aside the possibility of a trap, even if there isn't a trap, with this kid's strength, ordinary people won't be able to do anything to him. Seeing so many Buddhist monks being frozen, the surrounding cultivators were shocked. Wu Wuti's name was like the shadow of a tree. Although they had heard of many of Wu Wuti's deeds and great reputation, they had never seen it with their own eyes, so they still had some doubts. He was just a kid, so how could he become a universal wanted criminal? However, when they saw this scene, they immediately had no more doubts. This kind of mystic art was simply unimaginable. He had already cultivated the mystic art to the acme of perfection. Everyone come and beat me to death. Stop dilly-dallying. Of course, if you don't dare to come, then I'll go over and beat you to death. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, his body exuding a violent aura. What? Feeling this terrifying murderous aura, everyone couldn't help but retreat thousands of kilometers, as if they had fallen into an endless illusion. A world of mountains of corpses and seas of blood appeared in the depths of their consciousness, filled with the aura of eternity, chaos, blood, and slaughter. In this blood-red world, it was like hell. The violent, murderous aura contained in it almost destroyed all vitality. The deathly still aura made them tremble, leaving seeds of fear in their hearts. Well, Woody, you're too arrogant. This universe isn't ruled by you humans. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Suddenly, a wave of murderous aura spread out, covering the sky and the earth like an ocean, surging over, covering hundreds of millions of kilometers. Everyone couldn't help but look over, and they were all shocked. A ferocious bird flew over from afar, its wings almost covering a planet, covering the sky and the earth. Everyone could feel the murderous aura of this ferocious bird, and they were all terrified. It let out a piercing shriek, and the demonic sound pierced through everyone's ears. The blood of some weaker people immediately boiled, their blood vessels ruptured, and they were seriously injured. They couldn't resist at all. Oh no! This is the baleful crow demon bird that contains the bloodline of an ancient ferocious beast. Someone immediately exclaimed. They could tell that this ferocious bird was the famous baleful crow demon bird in the universe. Legend had it that the patriarch of the baleful crow demon bird race was extremely terrifying. He could swallow a star in one bite, and even some saints had been swallowed by him before. Haha, how can I miss such a show? I want this human. The essence of his flesh and blood is extremely rich. After eating him, I can immediately evolve and break through to a higher level. A voice rang through the void. Suddenly, a huge red snake monster flew over from afar. It had 6 legs and 4 wings, and its body was extremely huge. It was at least 13,000 kilometers long, as if it could wrap a planet with its body. Faye, this is the primordial Faye. It's actually here. Someone recognized the true identity of this snake monster. It was the famous Faye from the primordial era. It was said that once this snake monster appeared, the land within 1,000 miles became scarlet. It was proficient in fire elemental techniques, and its body contained a terrifying strange fire. It was extremely ferocious and extremely powerful. The surrounding people couldn't help but quickly retreat, because it was too hot around the Fae. The temperature had increased by tens of thousands of degrees. This kind of temperature was enough to burn gold and melt iron. Ordinary people couldn't withstand this kind of temperature at all. Even if they could withstand it, they would need to constantly use their spiritual energy to resist this heat. The amount of spiritual energy needed was extremely shocking. Faye, baleful crow demon bird, get out of here. This human belongs to me, the amethyst tiger. He once came to the Western universe to cause trouble, and killed the heavens' favorites of my tiger clan. This hatred is absolutely irreconcilable. I will definitely take his life. Whoever dares to stop me will die. No mercy. In the distance, a huge tiger that looked like it was made out of purple crystals appeared. It was thousands of meters tall like a mountain. It emitted a purple light, and looked exceptionally beautiful. However, everyone could see that this amethyst tiger was extremely violent. It contained a domineering aura, and its entire body was made out of purple crystals. Ordinary treasures could not break through the amethyst tiger's defense. This was also an primordial descendant. Amethyst tiger, don't be too arrogant. This human has caught the eye of my void butterfly. I must kill him and make a name for myself. The one standing at the peak of the universe must be my golden ant clan. Killing him will make me famous. I want all of his bounty. No one is allowed to take it. I am an elder of the Demon Kuan clan. Following the arrival of the amethyst tiger, baleful crow demon bird, Fae and other primordial descendants, other tyrannical experts also arrived. For example, the lion clan's 9-headed lion, the demon butterfly clan's void butterfly, the ant clan's golden ant, and so on. They arrived in an instant, emitting a violent demonic energy that shook the void and shook the planet. My God, so many experts have arrived. Chapter 1892. So it's you bunch of demons and monsters? Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at the group of primordial descendants. You guys have such guts. You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Come and die immediately. Everyone was shocked. This brat's guts were boundless. Facing so many primordial descendants, each of which was a tyrannical race that stood at the peak, he still dared to provoke them. However, when they thought about it, This brat even dared to reveal his true identity and take the initiative to challenge them. This was boundlessly arrogant. Why would he be afraid of these primordial descendants? Die. Lowly human, who do you think you are? I'll eat you alive. The baleful crow demon bird flapped its wings, covering the sky and earth. It rolled up a dark fog that covered a radius of 1 billion kilometers, as if all the light was swallowed into the black fog. A terrifying and ruthless aura spread out from the black fog. It turned into a beam of black light, its speed exceeding 10,000 times the speed of sound. It stretched out a huge claw that could pierce through gold and crack rocks. It was as if this claw could crush a planet. Everyone could feel the terror of this claw. If they were in front of this claw, they would most likely be crushed in an instant. This baleful crow demon bird's cultivation had already reached the middle stage of the Thunder Retribution realm. Its magic power was world-shaking. Just a feathered beast. Scram. A terrifying magic power surged out from Xia Ping's body. A heaven and earth dharma idol quickly condensed. It was a divine elephant that seemed to have walked out from the depths of hell. It emitted a terrifying power. As soon as this divine elephant appeared, it madly rushed towards the baleful crow demon bird, sweeping everything in its path. Dong! The huge claw and the divine elephant collided. It was as if two planets had collided, resulting in a shocking explosion. Countless balls of yuan qi exploded on the spot, causing sparks to fly everywhere. Ah! Immediately, the baleful crow demon bird let out a mournful scream. It actually discovered that its strength could not compare to this divine elephant. That astonishing brute force could tear everything apart. The opponent collided with its claws, instantly shattering its claws that were as hard as mica steel. A stream of blood sprayed out like a fountain. Its huge body also could not withstand this huge force. It was as if it had been hit by a cosmic fortress. It flew backwards, and its internal organs were heavily injured on the spot. It couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. It was sent flying for thousands of kilometers before it finally stopped. Impossible! What kind of monstrous power is this? It's actually able to send me flying, without being able to resist at all. The baleful crow demon bird was horrified and simply couldn't believe it. That pure brute force was too powerful. It didn't contain any elemental power, it was just brute force. But when it was pure to the extreme, it represented extreme power. With just a single strike, all of the fiendish energy on its body had been completely pulverized, and it had not been able to harm its opponent in the slightest. Haha, stupid bird. How can you deal with this human with your strength? Just wait for me. Only my Fei clan is the real overlord of the universe. We are invincible. Wait for me to burn you to death. The Fei made its move. Although its body was huge, with a length of 13,000 kilometers, and it was extremely fat, it was extremely agile. It danced in the starry sky, leaving behind a series of afterimages. Fei Yi's divine power, burning heaven and earth. The Fei roared in anger. It opened its mouth and spat out a ball of flame. This ball of flame was extremely big, like a small sun. It had a diameter of 30,000 kilometers, and was emitting a red light. The surrounding people felt the terrifying heat and quickly retreated, because the water in the surroundings was quickly evaporating. If they stayed near this ball of flame, even their blood would be evaporated, and they would quickly become dry corpses. They all knew the terror of the Fei, an immemorial descendant. Even a drop of its blood contained an extremely strong heat. Once it fell on the surface of a planet, it would immediately turn 1,000 miles red. Dozens of volcanoes would erupt, and countless rivers of lava would be formed. This was the real monster of the drought land, and it could be compared to the drought demon clan. To some extent, the Fei was probably even more powerful than the drought demon clan. Playing with fire in front of me? Damn fat snake. You are playing with a big knife in front of Guangong, and trying to show off in front of Confucius. Xia Ping made his move. Martial divine power, Hell Golden Crow Claw. Boom! In the blink of an eye, a hell golden crow flew out from his back. It was a divine beast that spanned across the heaven and earth, with dark golden flames burning fiercely. It was just a phantom, but everyone wanted to crawl down, as if they had met a god. This was the suppression of their bloodline, and they could barely move. The hell golden crow gently stretched out its claw, and the ball of flame was instantly crushed. Then it sucked in a big breath and swallowed the flame that was spat out by the Fae. It also let out a burp. Oh no, run away quickly. Seeing this scene, the Fae was dumbfounded. It was so scared that it almost peed its pants. It immediately knew that it had met its real nemesis. The opponent was not afraid of the Fae flame at all, and could even swallow its flame. How powerful was this opponent? It was not a match for it at all. Its huge body twisted, and it wanted to run away on the spot. But it was too late. From the depths of the void, a dark golden giant claw slapped over, and with a bang, the Fae's huge body was immediately caught and held tightly. It was like a giant pinching a small snake, making it unable to move. Even the flame from hell and the golden crow seeped into the Fae's body, burning it so fiercely that it screamed and felt unprecedented pain. As a monster of the fire element, it should have a very high resistance to the power of fire. But now it was burned to this extent, which was really frightening. It could be imagined that the level of the mystical flame was far higher than its own Fae flame. Fae? Hearing this name, I know it's delicious. It's a top-grade ingredient. It seems that I have to catch you back to breed and give birth to a bunch of small Fae, which I can eat every day in the future. Xiaoping touched his chin. Originally, he wanted to pinch this fat snake to death on the spot, but after thinking about it carefully, he realized that such a huge snake monster seemed to have the power of continuous regeneration. Cutting off a piece of it, it could grow back quickly, and it also contained the bloodline of an ancient species. It was simply a top-grade ingredient, which could be used to produce meat endlessly. If he killed this Fae now, he was afraid that he would suffer a great loss, and the path of sustainable development was the right one. Devil, this human is a devil. Hurry up and save me. I don't want to breed. I don't want to be eaten. Help. Hearing these words, the Fae was so scared that it cried. It kept struggling, looking at the ancient species around it with its big watery eyes, hoping that someone could save it and not fall into the hands of this devil. But it was too late to say these words. Whoosh! Xiaoping grabbed the Fae back in an instant, then opened the spatial door of the mountain river pearl, threw the Fae into the mountain river pearl and suppressed it. Chapter 1893. Damn it, that fat snake was captured by this human. Damn, that fat snake is an archaic remnant, but it's not a match for this human? This is a bit tricky. This human is a bit abnormal. We might not be his match in a one-on-one fight. What a joke. You're boosting his morale and belittling your own. You're the joke. This is just the truth. Don't let arrogance blind you. Strength is everything. Many archaic remnant species discussed. Seeing the baleful crow demon bird sent flying, and the Fae captured alive, they immediately raised Xiaoping's danger level by several levels, listing him as a powerful enemy that could not be easily provoked. Although they were all extremely confident, they were at most on par with the baleful crow demon bird and the Fae. Now that two of them were not Wu Wudi's match, it was likely that they would not be able to survive if they went up. This Wu Wudi is not simple. His cultivation is unfathomable. Where did he come from? He can even capture an archaic remnant alive? The other races were also shocked by what had just happened. Only now did they realize that this universal fugitive was not so easy to deal with. No wonder he was so arrogant and looked down on everyone in the universe. Perhaps he's the heir of some ancient family from the central universe. Otherwise, it's impossible for him to have such shocking strength. Some people guessed that Wu Wudi's identity might be from the central universe. For a moment, no one dared to move. They seemed to be sizing up Xiaoping, trying to find a flaw in him. No one dares to make a move. This is too disappointing. In that case, I'll do it myself. With a thud, Xiaoping took a step forward, and everything within billions of kilometers shook. Endless qi of the world quickly gathered in the depths of his body and poured into the 9 purple mansions. Immediately, with his body as the center, a huge energy vortex formed. Boom! Akoi walked out of the vortex. Its body was surrounded by terrifying lightning, as if it had connected to the dimension of lightning. Its horns were like lightning spears, piercing through everything and flashing with lightning. A divine elephant stood tall in the sky, roaring at the sky. Its huge body seemed to occupy all space, and the aura it emitted seemed to be able to suppress countless gods and demons. A heavenly dragon flew out from the depths of the void. It was suffused with a terrifying dragon's might, and it brought along boundless clouds and mist. It shook the surrounding people to the point that they shivered and almost prostrated themselves. A taut eye formed a black hole. It was invisible and formless, quietly standing in the depths of the void. It produced a tyrannical devouring power. Even light that approached it would be quickly distorted and turned into nothingness. 4 heaven and earth dharma idols appeared in an instant, suppressing the 4 directions. They were like 4 ancient divine beasts attacking from the north, south, east, and west, attacking the group of archaic descendants. You actually dare to take the initiative to attack. I haven't even provoked you, yet you dare to provoke this king. Human, you are courting death. The amethyst tiger was shocked and angry. It never thought that in this kind of ambush situation, this human would dare to take the initiative to attack and directly come to the door. It saw the Kuei ox rush over murderously, bringing with it the power of tens of thousands of streaks of lightning, its aura terrifying. The bloodline deep within its body was warning it of great danger. Amethyst godly fist. The amethyst tiger roared angrily, roaring in the void. Waves of purple magic surged out of its body, blasting out tens of thousands of purple fists. It was as if they were condensed from amethyst, becoming solid and indestructible. Under these fist marks, even a planet would be completely smashed into smithereens. Moreover, they also had the power of corrosion. If ordinary objects came into contact with the power of amethyst, they would quickly crystallize, stealing the aura of life and turning into statues made of amethyst. However, the Kueox rushed over. Its body contained a supreme scripture, chaotic thunder technique. This was the general outline of all thunder techniques in the world, surpassing everything in the mortal world, and it emitted the aura of tribulation thunder. Bolts of purple lightning struck down, as if the thunder god was holding a spear and conquering the world. It pierced through the bodies of the generals, as if the thunder god was also judging the sins of the people. Dong! Immediately, the countless purple fists in the air were smashed into pieces by the tribulation thunder, turning into powder. Even the tiny power of the tribulation thunder was the size of a hair. It penetrated the void and quickly entered the amethyst tiger's body. Ah! Suddenly, the amethyst tiger let out a shrill scream. It suddenly found that it seemed to be facing the tribulation thunder. The electricity made its whole body numb, and it could not move at all. The purple fur all over its body stood up, like a hedgehog. At the same time, its whole body felt weak. 9 Lion Divine Light. The 9-headed lion's face was ferocious. Its 9 heads opened their mouths at the same time and let out a terrifying roar, spewing out sound waves. Countless sound runes gathered together and condensed into a substance. It was like a star-annihilating cannon with infinite power. Everyone could see how terrifying the golden divine light was. There were ripples in the depths of the void. If it was hit, it would immediately turn into powder. However, the divine elephant rushed over and did not dodge. It was incomparably tyrannical, carrying with it a terrifying energy wave. It seemed that when it ran, it would set off a spatial storm. Boom! In an instant, the 9 Lion Divine Light bombarded the divine elephant and suddenly disappeared. It was smashed by the divine elephant's body, and a mass of energy collapsed and turned into vitality. What? I flew out. In the next second, the 9-headed lion's 9 heads were completely dumbfounded. It felt that its 9 heads seemed to have lost consciousness, and its whole body flew out without any resistance. It seemed that it had only been hit by the divine elephant, but 70% of the bones in its body were broken. Its internal organs were severely damaged on the spot, and blood sprayed out freely. If it was not for the 9-headed lion's strong body and the bloodline of the primordial vicious beasts, it was afraid that just a light hit would have turned its whole body into a mass of meat paste. Oh my God! The surrounding people were scared half to death. 2 primordial descendants stood at the peak of the universe. They had the primordial bloodline, and their strength was far beyond that of ordinary cultivators. However, in an instant, this human had crippled 2 primordial descendants, and it did not take much effort. Stupid human! You dare to offend the Golden Ant clan. Even if you die, you won't know how to write it. Haven't you heard of the saying, many ants can kill an elephant? Do you think I came alone? The Golden Ant shouted angrily. It opened its mouth and immediately revealed a dark wormhole. From the depths of this wormhole, millions of golden ants flew out, and there was even an endless stream of golden ants flying out from the depths of the black hole. It seemed that the number of golden ants was at least over 100 million. Although their strength was not as strong as the golden ant leader, their number was really too much. Even an army could not compare to it. Chapter 1894. Haha, human! Today I will show you the horror of the ants of gold. Damn, what is this? Help, ah. The ant of gold laughed and was in high spirits. It wanted to command many ants to attack and completely drown this small human, with the advantage of numbers. It wanted to show its power and let the universe know the horror of the ants of gold. But before it could do anything, the Tautai rushed over and opened its mouth. It turned into a black hole, covering hundreds of millions of kilometers, covering the sky and the sun, and instantly shrouded. With a slurping sound, the ant of gold and its many subordinates did not know what happened. They were instantly swallowed by the Tautai, leaving only the shrill screams of the ants of gold. Then even the screams stopped abruptly, and the surroundings were quiet. My God, what happened just now? Didn't the ants of gold plan to show their power? Why did they disappear in an instant? Things happened too fast. Before I could figure it out, the ants of gold were gone. Everyone was dumbfounded. They planned to see the horrible power of the ants of gold and the horror of the ants of gold. They did not expect that there was no chance for the ants of gold to show their power. In just an instant, the group of ants of gold was gone, disappeared without a trace. In fact, these ants of gold were indeed powerful. With the advantage of numbers, they could simply sweep away countless enemies. The problem was that they were extremely unlucky to meet their nemesis, the Tautai, which was one of the 10 primordial fierce beasts. Even among the many primordial descendants, it was a horrible existence among the top 10. The ants of gold were also primordial descendants, but they were still incomparable to the Tautai. Not to mention the Tautai contained the power of devouring. That kind of greed, endless demand, and bottomless darkness. No matter how many ants of gold came, it was useless. 100 million, 1 billion, 10 billion. They were just numbers that could be swallowed in one bite. Of course, they were not dead. Instead, they were quickly transferred to the depths of the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River by Xia Ping's magical power, and were temporarily suppressed. However, in the eyes of outsiders, the group of ants of gold was dead. They were killed in an instant, without leaving a single drop. My God, who is the primordial descendant? Run! The void butterfly was so scared that it peed itself. It wished that its parents had given it a few more pairs of wings. The wings on its body lightly shook, and the surrounding void produced waves of ripples. It used its innate divine ability. In an instant, its entire body turned into nothingness. It fled into the void, wanting to escape. However, such an action was futile. After obtaining the black hole worm, Xia Ping's comprehension of void energy and space energy had reached an unprecedented level. Even the void butterfly couldn't compare to him. After all, the black hole worm stood at the pinnacle of space-type creatures. In terms of understanding of space, if the black hole worm claimed to be second, no one would dare claim to be first. Immediately, Xia Ping's divine sense permeated the space within a radius of several 100 million kilometers. He immediately sensed a transparent object flying and swimming in the depths of the void, trying to escape from this place. Boom! With a thought, the primordial sky dragon opened its eyes and emitted a terrifying dragon might. With a gentle swipe of its gigantic dragon claws, it tore through the void and instantly sent the void butterfly flying. No, no, no! The void butterfly shrieked, feeling great danger. It operated its divine ability in an attempt to speed up, but it couldn't do anything. Its body was immediately captured by the primordial sky dragon's claws. It was as if its body would be crushed in an instant. In the next second, its entire body disappeared. It was instantly captured into the space of the pearl of mountains and rivers. It's over. Even the void butterfly has fallen into the hands of this human. My God, just how strong is this human? Even we, the primordial species, are no match for him? Many of the primordial species' hair stood on end. Seeing the void butterfly and the other primordial species being captured and crippled, they couldn't help but feel their hair stand on end. All of you come here. Xia Ping took a step forward and punched. The void trembled, and another Dharma idol stepped out of the void. It was a 1,000-armed Buddha, shining with infinite golden light. The 1,000-armed Buddha was tens of thousands of meters tall. More than 1,000 hands came crashing down like a demon god. It slapped towards the group of primordial species like an eagle catching chicks. It wanted to capture all the primordial species. The first to bear the brunt was the raven demon bird. It had just been severely injured by Xia Ping. Now that it was specially targeted, how could it escape? In an instant, it was caught by the Buddha's hand. It was grabbed by the neck and brought back just like that. Its huge body struggled. It even wanted to turn into a cloud of black mist to escape. But it was to no avail. It was as if it was caught by the hand. Its dharmic powers were all sealed by the Buddhist scriptures. It had nowhere to escape. Bastard! This shameless human. He's crazy. Everyone run. Don't get caught. Otherwise, you'll be captured for breeding. You'll have your flesh cut every day, and become food on his plate. This is worse than being a slave. Wu Woody, I'm not done with you. Our patriarch of the primordial species will not let you off for doing such an infuriating thing. One by one, the primordial species were scared out of their wits. They put on a brave front, but were cowardly on the inside. There were very few of them. There were only 20 to 30 of them this time. They were so scared that they scattered in all directions. They were afraid that they would be captured by Xia Ping and never be able to escape. The surrounding people were all dumbfounded. Just now that group of primordial descendants had been so arrogant. As soon as they appeared, they said that they would kill Wu Woody and make a name for themselves. Who would have thought that they would be fleeing like stray dogs? It could only be said that Wu Woody was too valiant. He did not seem like a human at all. Wu Woody, don't you dare be so arrogant. Do you think you can capture the primordial species as you wish? I'll kill you. At this moment, a teleportation array appeared in the depths of the void. Huge figures appeared in the starry sky, emitting waves of tyrannical lightning power. This group of figures was the Thunder Demon clan. As soon as they appeared, there were thousands of them. The one who spoke was the clan leader Lei Bao. They rushed with all their might and finally arrived in the starry sky. When Lei Bao saw that Wu Woody was so arrogant and was still capturing primordial species everywhere, he was so arrogant that he did not care about his son's life. One could imagine how angry he was. As soon as he appeared, he joined the many Thunder Demon subordinates and immediately attacked Xia Ping. Thunder falls on the earth, judge evil. Suddenly millions of lightning bolts bombarded like raindrops. Each bolt was as thick as an arm. They were powerful and destroyed hundreds of millions of kilometers, almost covering the entire area. Escape! Sensing this destructive aura, Xia Ping estimated that even a peak thunder tribulation expert would die. His figure flickered, and a ball of primordial chi wrapped around his body. Chapter 1895. Boom! Balls of thunder energy exploded, turning this place upside down and forcing Xia Ping to retreat. The invincible strength of the Thunder Goblin clan was suddenly displayed, shocking the surrounding onlookers. The group of primordial descendants was even more grateful. If it wasn't for the sudden attack of this group of Thunder Goblins, they would have been captured by that damn Wu Woody to breed. What a tragic end that would be. Damn it, he escaped. However, a Thunder Goblin elder was very regretful. He could have taken advantage of the attack just now to completely kill this kid and destroy his primordial spirit. But he didn't expect that he would still be able to escape. It doesn't matter. The monk can run, but the temple can't. If I don't die this time, I will definitely die next time. Lei Bao sneered and stared at Xia Ping with a pair of vertical pupils. His body was filled with a terrible murderous aura, which was almost condensed into a substance. He couldn't wait to immediately chop this human into pieces. You actually dared to attack me, and even sneak attacked me. You have guts. What? You thunder goblins also want to be captured by me and become my food? But look at how skinny you are. I can tell at a glance that you don't taste good. You must be hungry every day. Could it be that the Thunder Goblin clan has no food, and often suffers from famine? Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back, and stared at the group of Thunder Goblins who suddenly appeared. Desolate my ass. This is the body of my Thunder Goblin clan, lean and sturdy. Don't you understand? Ignorant guy. You want to keep us in captivity? Who is the audacious one? Human, you still dare to talk when you're about to die. Previously, you killed my clan's young master, and many elites of the Thunder Goblin. Today, you will definitely die. Go to hell and accompany my clan's young master. Many Thunder Goblins were infuriated, and their anger erupted. Countless thunderbolts exploded around them. As if the god of thunder in the sky was angry. Balls of thunderbolts shattered, reformed, and then shattered again. Kill! Lei Bao shouted angrily. Without any nonsense, he took out a peerless spiritual weapon, the Thunder God Spear. Suddenly, thunder surged from the flat ground, and the thunderbolts turned into pearls, surging like a raging sea. Swoosh! He held the Thunder God Spear and attacked Xiaoping. Thousands of thunderbolts gathered together and condensed into the Thunder God's attack. It was like a judgment thunder pillar, tearing apart everything. Brother Lei Bao, let me help you. This kid and my Wandu clan have an irreconcilable enmity. I swear to kill him. At that moment, another force descended from the sky. There were more than 1,000 of them, and they were all at least at the peak of the Dharma stage. They exuded the aura of various poisonous mists. There were black, purple, blue, yellow, and so on. Each poisonous mist seemed to condense into the form of skeletons, demons, and so on. It was frightening. This was a group of elders from the 10,000 Poison clan. They had traveled through the night and finally arrived. When they saw the Thunder Demon clan attacking Xiaoping, they were overjoyed. How could they miss this opportunity? All poisons are unique, only I, the venerable poison master. One by one, the elders of the 10,000 Poison clan formed seals with their hands and unleashed their divine abilities. A wave of tyrannical poison element magic power blasted down. Suddenly, countless poison runes flashed in the air, containing all kinds of poisons in the world, including scorpion venom, snake venom, jellyfish venom, and so on. They were all terrifying poisons that they had collected from all over the universe. Ordinary cultivators would be poisoned to death if they came into contact with even a little bit of it. With so much poison gathered together, it would probably be able to poison the humans on thousands of planets to death. In fact, the appearance of the poisonous mist even seemed to corrode the void, and thumb-sized black holes appeared. Boom! In an instant, the poisonous mist transformed into skulls, demons, and so on. They surrounded Xiaoping and covered the entire area. No matter where he hid, he would not be able to escape the attack of the poisonous mist. Haha, Wu Wudi! You have angered everyone today and cannot escape. The Black Heaven clan is here to help you. Another force descended from the sky and directly appeared on the other side. More than 1,000 elders of the Mystic Heaven sect had arrived. When they saw Xiaoping, their eyes turned red. As the saying goes, when enemies meet, their eyes turn red. How could they remain calm? The universe is infinite, the heavenly swords crisscrossing, the mystery of the mystery. They immediately took out a flying sword and unleashed the ultimate sword formation. Immediately, tens of millions of silver sword auras appeared, densely packed like poisonous snakes. They buzzed and vibrated continuously. The number of sword auras was even more terrifying than a swarm of locusts. The mysterious Heaven sect's elders roared as they unhesitatingly held their flying swords. They ferociously activated their sword runes and immediately attacked Xiaoping like a torrent of rain. Each sword aura had the power to tear apart cultivators of the same level. The attack was unparalleled. 3 forces are attacking at the same time. Looks like Wu Wudi is done for. Not necessarily. This brat is very strange. It'll be very difficult to kill him. Looks like we can see his trump card. Let's see what he's capable of. Everyone's eyes flashed as they watched the show. You're finally here. I've been waiting for a long time. Flame River 9 Bins Formation Activate. Xiaoping could naturally sense how terrifying this power was. He could not resist it with his own power. But he had already set up many restrictive formations here. He could borrow the power of heaven and earth to resist it. Suddenly, 9 holes in the fire dimension opened, and endless flames surged out from the depths of the dimension. In an instant, the flames quickly turned into 9 flaming rivers that traversed the heavens and earth. These were not ordinary flaming rivers. They were the essence of the sun, the fire of drought, the fire of Buddhism, the flame of angels, the blazing star fire, the golden crow fire of hell, and the dragon flame. Each flaming river was like the yellow springs of the underworld. They contained terrifying destructive power that could drown all enemies. Boom! With just one attack, the formation rose and instantly destroyed the spells of the Thunder Demon Clan, the 10,000 Poison Clan, and the Mystic Heaven Sect. They were all sent flying. The lightning in the sky was turned to dust, the poisonous mist was burned to ashes, and the endless sword chi was dispersed. All the cultivators could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Their lungs were injured. At this moment, Xiaoping had a deeper understanding of the Flame River 9 Bins formation. As he continued to use the flames in his body, he became more familiar with it. The golden crow of hell bloodline in his body was stimulated. 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, 1,000,000 golden crow of hell cells awakened one after another. Suddenly, these golden crow of hell cells surged out a huge amount of energy and entered his limbs and bones. It flowed into his 9 purple mansions and increased his magic power to the peak of the early stage of the Transcendence realm. He felt that the martial arts foundation in his body had stabilized a lot. Fighting with strong cultivators had benefited him a lot. In fact, the golden crow of hell bloodline was a physique for battle. The stronger the opponent, the better the improvement. The stronger the opponent, the faster the improvement. Chapter 1896. He actually set up a formation here. Why didn't we discover it? That's right. Just now my divine sense permeated the void, but there was nothing. There was nothing. Moreover, he defeated 3 major forces in one go. Such a formation is no small matter. It's impossible for it to be completely untraceable. I can only say that Wu Wudi's attainments in formations are extremely high. He has already reached a realm that ordinary people can't even imagine. That's why he can hide the traces of a formation without leaving a trace. Everyone was shocked. They had also guessed that Wu Wudi would definitely have some tricks up his sleeves if he was nearby, so they were not too surprised. However, seeing Wu Wudi silently activate a formation still surprised them. They felt that this famous universal wanted criminal was indeed worthy of his reputation. Wu Wudi, you do have some ability, but can you stop the Angel Clan? In an instant, another force descended from the void. Suddenly, a group of angels appeared, emitting white light. They had wings on their backs, and they were incomparably holy. Taking advantage of this moment, they instantly attacked Xiaoping without holding back. Angels' judgment purifies sins. Many angels used their divine abilities, holding spears in their hands, and beams of scorching white holy light shot out. This was the angels' light of judgment, and it was extremely powerful. If an ordinary person was hit by it, their primordial spirit would instantly be destroyed, disappearing into nothingness, and all their sins would be eliminated. Tens of thousands of beams of light of judgment shot out, and everything within a radius of thousands of kilometers seemed to turn pure white and holy. All the darkness was expelled, as if this area had become heaven. Indistinctly, there seemed to be countless angels singing praises in the depths of the void, praising the greatness of God. Demon, you killed my elder Jianu. The Buddhists will not forgive you. On the other side, a group of Buddhists also descended. Buddha's light shone brightly, and there were thousands of them. All of them were bald, and there seemed to be golden halos of wisdom behind them. They also knew what had happened to Elder Jianu. She had been frozen into an ice sculpture by this brat, and her fate was unknown. This immediately enraged them, and they wanted to kill this demon. Arhats subdue demons, Buddhas descend. One after another, mighty Buddhas made their moves. Behind them, Buddhas appeared, radiating golden light in all directions. Buddhist scriptures appeared one after another, suppressing down. In the face of this power, any demonic power would be purified. At the same time, it contained an unparalleled sealing power. The group of Buddhist sect elders seemed to want to instantly seal Xiaoping up. The surrounding people were all shocked. They could feel the power of these Buddhist scriptures. Just one of them could completely seal the cultivation of a Thunder Retribution realm expert, turning him into a mortal. This was also the terror of the Buddhist sections. Their sealing techniques were unparalleled in the world. Even if there were demons with higher cultivation than them, they could easily seal them. Legend has it that there was a demon-subduing pagoda inside the Thunder Temple, which suppressed countless demons and devils in the universe. These Buddhist elders chanted sutras day and night to purify the demonic energy. Haha Wuwudi, you're about to die. You offended the Ancient Moon sect, the Great Sky sect, and the Heavenly Mirror sect. You never thought this day would come. Now is the time to kick you when you're down. Die obediently. With a boom, 3 forces descended from the void in the distance. They were all saint-level sects from the northern universe. They were at least at the peak of the Dharma plane, and more than half of them were Thunder Retribution realm experts. When they arrived and saw Xiaoping being surrounded, they were immediately overjoyed. They hurriedly added insult to injury and attacked at the same time. One after another, magic matrices crushed down from the void. There were thousands of them, and every inch of the void was filled with terrifying energy. Even a sun could not withstand such power, and would explode directly. Damn! How many people has this Wuwudi offended? Just now 3 forces, the Thunder Demon clan, the 10,000 Poison clan, and the Xintian sect, came to kill him. Now the Angel clan, the Luohan clan, the Ancient Moon sect, the Great Sky sect, the Heavenly Mirror sect, and other saint-level forces of the northern universe have appeared. There are so many enemies. Someone was stunned. He had seen wanted criminals and peerless demons, but he had never seen such a detestable demon. It seemed that the entire universe was his enemy, and the number of enemies was endless. The appearance of each force made his scalp go numb. If he was Wuwudi, he would have been killed long ago. There was no way he would have survived until now. I don't know. I only know that this kid has already angered both humans and gods. The group of people was speechless. They all felt that Wuwudi was an extreme person. He did not have a single friend in the world. Are you all out? Then let's die together. Suppress them all. Seeing so many enemies appear, Xiaoping was unmoved. He waved his hand, and suddenly, the ambushes in the surroundings immediately appeared, covering a radius of billions of kilometers. The first to appear was the peach blossom miasma array. Peach blossoms filled the void, and no one knew how many there were. At the same time, peach blossom trees bloomed, filling the air with pink petals. They scattered everywhere, as if this place had turned into a world of peach blossoms. The many cultivators in this array suddenly realized that they had lost contact with the people around them. They fell into an endless illusion. Even if they used their divine senses, they could not sense their surroundings. It seemed that the fragrance of the peach blossoms could distort their divine senses. The second array was the Heavenly Cycle Stars array. In the sky above the peach blossom trees, there were at least hundreds of millions of stars. The sky was full of stars emitting a blue light. It was extremely bright. Wave after wave of the power of the stars exploded. It was like a collision of stars. In an instant, the attacks of the Angel clan, the Luo clan, the Ancient Moon sect, the Great Sky sect, the Heavenly Reflection sect, and other forces were completely disintegrated, turning into a mass of vitality. Damn it, we've been tricked. Is this the kid's goal? To use the illusion array to separate us, and then defeat us one by one? Someone immediately understood Wuwudi's goal. In the illusory array, even though they were very close, they couldn't sense each other. Damn it, what a powerful illusion array. It's almost at the peak of illusion arrays. It can almost pass off the fake as the real thing. My heavenly eye of the Buddhist clan can't see through the illusion array. A powerful Buddhist cultivator's expression was very ugly. He thought that he could use his heavenly eye to see through the illusion of the world. But now he was blocked by this great array. He could not see through the illusion array. This was to be expected. This was because this great array was created by Xia Ping, by combining the true solution of illusions and mini-array knowledge. It was almost at the peak of the first level of the illusion realm. Ordinary divine skills could not see through it at all. This was enough to prove how powerful the true solution of illusions from the depths of hell was. It was definitely an extraordinary secret technique. It's okay. I've cultivated the mind-reading technique. I can communicate with my surroundings through telepathy. This array can block divine senses, but it can't block the voice of the soul. Chapter 1897. There's a Buddhist elder whose cultivated thought steal. Xia Ping was the master of this great array, so he could naturally hear the voices of others. He knew everything inside the array like the back of his hand, and he could see everything clearly. Apparently, the thought steal was an extremely powerful spiritual ability, comparable to the telepathic heart art. However, it wasn't that easy to cultivate it. There was only one condition to successfully cultivate thought steal, and that was to be born with the 7 orifices exquisite heart. Without it, no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't cultivate it. For a long time, no one in the Buddhist sect had heard of anyone successfully cultivating thought steal. Who would have thought that one would appear here? But do you think I'll give you the chance to contact each other? Die all of you. Xia Ping sneered. He formed a seal with both hands and activated another formation. 5 elemental tribulation lightning formation. Immediately, the entire sky was filled with dark clouds. Huge wormholes opened one after another. It was the dimension of thunder. Countless thunder energy seemed to surge out from the depths of the dimension. Moreover, this wasn't ordinary thunder, but tribulation thunder. No matter what race or creature, even primordial species, they all had an innate fear of tribulation thunder. This was because once tribulation thunder appeared, it would immediately target the body and soul. It would cause almost irreparable damage. No matter how strong one's body was, it was useless. If one couldn't block it, they would die. Damn it, tribulation lightning. This is tribulation lightning. This son of a bitch has triggered tribulation lightning. He wants us to die, all of us. A thunder retribution realm expert shouted in horror. In reality, the 5 elemental tribulation lightning formation's power was similar to the flaming river 9 melody formation. However, from a certain perspective, it was the nemesis of many tribulation realm experts. They all feared it because once they reached a certain realm, they would immediately encounter tribulation thunder. If they passed it, their cultivation would greatly increase, but if they couldn't, they would immediately die. Therefore, in order to not die, these tribulation realm old monsters tried their best to hide from the heavens, avoid the tribulation thunder, or delay the arrival of the tribulation thunder. They would wait until they had accumulated enough strength before letting the tribulation thunder descend. The problem was that once the 5 elemental tribulation lightning formation appeared, a large amount of tribulation thunder aura surged in the surroundings. This would trigger the tribulation power inside their bodies. They could no longer suppress it, and the tribulation thunder would descend. This was especially true for some old monsters who had lived for who knew how long. Their tribulation thunder was even more terrifying. If that was the case, they wouldn't die at the hands of this bastard. Instead, they would die to their own tribulation thunder. This was the despicable plot of Wu Wudi. So that's how it is. This is that bastard Wu Wudi's true plot. He used this thunder tribulation formation to trigger the thunder tribulation in our bodies and kill us all. What a good plan. He wants to kill us all in one fell swoop. He finally understood Wu Wudi of Wu Wudi's plan. He had also understood Wu Wudi of his plan. He of his plan of. What a sinister and evil slut. He's even more sinister than the demons of our 10,000 poison clan. He's even more sinister than the demons of the abyss. He wants to kill so many of our thunder retribution realm experts. Isn't he afraid that he'll be stuffed to death? The 10,000 poison sect elder cursed anxiously. He could feel the seal in his body stirring. It was as if the tribulation thunder would descend from the void and strike his head at any time. He was already a peak tribulation realm cultivator. He was only one step away from becoming a sage. The problem was, if he was confident, he would have triggered the tribulation thunder long ago. Why would he wait until now? He knew that once the tribulation thunder descended, he would die without a doubt. He wouldn't even be able to be human, let alone become a sage. Once the tribulation thunder descended, tens of thousands of years of cultivation would turn to ashes, and his primordial spirit would be destroyed. Ah, that bitch Wuwudi. You killed so many elders of my Black Heaven sect, and now you want to wipe us out. I'll fucking kill you even as a ghost. I'll follow you even to the toilet. An elder of the Black Heaven sect cursed. He hated Xia Ping to the extreme. What are you shouting for? If shouting could kill Wuwudi, we would have killed him dozens of times already. Why are you shouting here? Hurry up and think of a way to solve this, said an elder of the Heaven Mirror sect, gritting his teeth. What else can we do? Just wait for death. When the tribulation thunder descends, we'll be killed. What's the point of struggling? We're done for. We're completely done for by this brat. The elder of the Black Heaven sect said in despair. He closed his eyes and waited for death, giving up on struggling. They couldn't break the 5 elements tribulation thunder formation now. Even if they did, they would need a certain amount of time. However, during this time, the aura of the tribulation thunder around them had already triggered the tribulation power in their bodies. At that time they would also die. I said that this brat is despicable and shameless. He wouldn't do such a suicidal thing. There must be a trap waiting for us. Now look, none of you believe me. You even foolishly rushed in and fell into the trap. You idiots, you've caused my death. I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. The elder of the Great Sky sect broke down. He pointed his finger at those who had come to cause trouble for Wuwudi. He thought that if it weren't for this group of people acting willfully, they wouldn't have ended up like this. He was an elder with an infinitely bright future. He was only 10,000 years old, very young. There was still hope for him to reach the Saint Realm, but now he had to die in this place. He regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. Fuck, it's my fault. It's all my fault for encouraging you to seek revenge on Wuwudi. Do you want to settle the score with me now? Come on, let's fight. I'm not afraid of you. How could that person stand it? He immediately retorted. Infighting? In the distance, Xia Ping blinked. He hadn't expected this to happen. At such a critical moment, this group of people had actually started infighting. They began to bite each other and blame each other. This was human nature. In a situation of certain death, some people wouldn't unite. Instead, they would blame each other and kill each other. Boom. At that moment, a tyrannical dark aura rose from the depths of the formation into the sky. Suddenly, a wave of power descended from the void. Everyone looked over and immediately discovered that they were all mighty figures from the Palace of Darkness. Each of them emitted an aura like the dark abyss, causing the void to tremble. Wuwudi, you are indeed a peerless demon. You are even more ruthless than us demonic disciples from the Palace of Darkness. You set up a trap and actually made a group of mighty figures kill each other. You are an expert at playing with people's hearts. You are 100 times more terrifying than venerable mental demon of ancient times. Chapter 1898. The person who spoke was Xiang Yuandong from the Palace of Darkness. He was a peak tribulation lightning expert, and one of the leaders of the Palace of Darkness. He had the ability to command hundreds of people. In reality, the group of disciples from the Palace of Darkness had arrived here long ago. However, in order to observe Xia Ping's weakness, they had hidden themselves and let others take the lead. But now, they had no choice but to show themselves. If they still did not show themselves, the group of tribulation lightning experts would probably all be killed in one fell swoop by Wuwudi. Even though their threat to Wuwudi had increased by several levels, they were still shocked when they saw that the kid really had the ability to kill countless Thunder Tribulation Almighties. Originally, the group of disciples from the Palace of Darkness had thought that other than the Central Universe, the other places were barbarians. There were not many who could fight, so they had underestimated them. But now that they saw Wuwudi, they no longer underestimated him. If they had not been hiding in the dark, they would have fallen for his trap long ago and been unable to extricate themselves. Kill! In an instant, Xiang Yuandong attacked. He took out a 3-foot-long sword condensed from white bone. A terrifying aura immediately erupted, shaking the heavens and earth and countless stars. This aura tore through the void and seemed to cause the surrounding formation lines to crack and shatter. A saint artifact. Everyone was immediately shocked. There was no doubt that this was a saint artifact. Moreover, it was not a low-grade saint artifact, but a powerful mid-grade saint artifact. Wu Wuti, it's a worthy death for you to die under this mid-grade saint artifact, the Dawn White Bone Sword. Xiang Yuandong shouted. He circulated all the magic in his body and poured it into the mid-grade saint artifact, then swung the sword down. Suddenly, a white sword light bombarded down. It was hundreds of millions of kilometers long, as if it wanted to split the void of the universe in half. This could be called the attack of a saint, and its power was earth-shattering. Everyone was shocked. They felt that this was the true power of heaven and earth. In the face of such power, they were no different from ants. They would be crushed into powder in an instant. That kid is dead for sure. For the sake of killing him, the Palace of Darkness has actually used a medium-quality saint artifact. They're far too rich. They really do live up to their reputation as one of the two sacred grounds of the human race. I've heard of the Origin White Bone Sword before. It seems to have been refined from the bones of some demon saint-level abyssal fiendish demons. It contains a terrifying fiendish power. With a single slash, the white bones will turn everything within hundreds of millions of kilometers into a dead zone. It can be said to be an extremely terrifying sacred weapon of the demonic path. I never thought that it would fall into the hands of Xiang Yuandong. In any case, Wu Wuti is done for. No matter how many trump cards he has, there is no way he can fight against Xiang Yuandong, who possesses a sage artifact. Everyone discussed the matter, especially the Thunder Tribulation Realm mighty figures, who were on the brink of death. They were overjoyed. As long as they killed Wu Wuti and destroyed the array, the tribulations in their bodies would not be triggered. This was equivalent to saving their lives. The sword slashed down, and the Heavenly Domain Stellar Array, Peach Blossom Miasma Array, and 5 Elemental Lightning Tribulation Array were instantly shattered. All the magic array's foundations were reduced to powder. At the same time, everyone was freed from the restraints of the formation. However, this unforeseen event was also part of Xiaping's plan. His expression did not change. Palace of Darkness, you finally appeared. I've been waiting for a long time. I thought you wouldn't dare to show your faces. However, do you think that a mere mid-grade sacred weapon can kill me? You're too arrogant. The reason why I didn't kill you was because I was waiting for you to appear. Come out, star-shifting array. Xiaping took a step forward and formed a seal with both hands, activating the last array that had been set up in the surrounding void. What? Fuck, even at this time, this guy still has a trump card. Everyone's eyes widened. They looked as if they had been fucked. A large array rose up. Stars densely covered it, forming the star-shifting array. This array could divert the enemy's divine power. It could be considered a defensive array. Immediately, the sword light from the Origin White Bone Sword was wrapped up by the star-shifting array. It was instantly transferred to another place and bombarded the black-yellow continent in the depths of the void. Boom! Everyone heard a series of cracking sounds, as if the heavens were breaking apart. The many array formations that had been marked in the void were immediately smashed apart by the sword light. The continent that had been hidden in the depths of the void suddenly lost its protective strength. It fell down from the void and appeared in front of everyone. At the same time, all of the restrictive spell formations that had been set up on the continent shattered, turning into powder. They were completely destroyed, and boundless sword chi spread out in the surroundings. It had to be said that the Origin White Bone Sword was incomparably powerful. The sword light shot into the heavens. This strike simply surpassed the limits of the peak Thunder Tribulation realm. It left everyone shocked. What's going on? Why is there another continent in this part of the starry skies? How come we didn't see it just now? Many Supreme Elders immediately saw the continent that had suddenly appeared, leaving them shaken. I know. It must be a mysterious continent left behind by the Good Fortune Saint. There must be some rare treasures on it. There might even be a revival good fortune pill. Someone shouted. Everyone's eyes immediately brightened with joy. The continent that had been hidden by the good fortune saint was undoubtedly extremely valuable. After all, there were so many continents in the heavens fortune chart. The other continents had not been hidden, but this continent had. There was definitely a great secret hidden within. Even if they used their knees to think, they would still think of this. If a revival good fortune pill appeared, even if they had to risk their lives, they would still snatch it. Wait, damn it, there's something wrong with this continent. It contains an incomparably evil will and rich abyssal demonic energy. A massive number of tyrannical abyssal demons have been sealed here. An angel elder shouted. As pure and holy angels, they were extremely sensitive to the aura of demons. They immediately sensed an inexplicable danger emanating from the depths of this continent. That's right. This continent has imprisoned a massive number of peak thunder tribulation realm great demons. Damn it, what did Wuwudi do? Why did he release these abyssal demons? What did he do? A Buddhist elder gnashed his teeth in anger. He immediately realized that this had to be Wuwudi's plan. He had most likely used their hands to tear apart the array formation of this continent and release the sealed abyssal demons. Retreat, retreat! The abyssal demons on that continent are about to come out. Hurry and retreat. These abyssal demons are no trifling matter. They are not trash demons that can compare to them. They are true great demons that have the potential to become demon sages. Xiang Yuandong's expression changed as he repeatedly warned them. Wuwudi, you son of a bitch. What have you done this time? Just how much do you want us to die before you stop? The group of people was scared half to death. Their faces were deathly white. They hated Wuwudi to death. Chapter 1899. Before they could grab Xiaoping, balls of terrifying abyssal demonic energy surged out of the continent. Instantly, countless powerful abyssal demons broke free. Haha, we're out. We're finally out. Damn that old ghost creation. He trapped us here for so many years. We almost died. When we get out this time, we must kill all his disciples and grand disciples. Kiki, there are so many living beings here. What a dense aura. They're all top-grade food. Kill them and we'll be free. Let's start a massacre to celebrate. Many abyssal demons laughed wildly. They ran out of the continent in a frenzy, afraid that they would be sealed again if they were too late. When they saw the people from the Palace of Darkness, they were all extremely excited. They were like people who were dying of thirst who suddenly saw a pot of clear spring water. How could they hold themselves back? After being sealed for so long, no one could imagine how much they thirsted for flesh and souls. Die, all of you, die. Die in the lava. A lava demon flew out. Its body seemed to be made of lava and emitted the smell of sulfur. It was like a devil that had walked out of hell. Its body was 80,000 feet tall. It waved its hand and instantly turned the surrounding thousands of kilometers into a river of lava. Thousands of volcanoes erupted everywhere, and smoke rose. The flames that erupted weren't ordinary flames. They were demonic flames from the abyss. They contained corrosive, toxic, burning, and infectious properties. If ordinary cultivators touched them, they would immediately turn to ashes. Many cultivators couldn't resist and screamed in pain. Their bodies were covered in flames and burned, turning into huge torches that shot into the sky. Souls. Delicious souls. The heavenly demons laughed cruelly. They were formless and invisible. They passed through the void and emitted a monstrous demonic aura. They instantly invaded the bodies of the living beings and devoured their souls. In an instant, these cultivators' eyes became lifeless. Their bodies became empty shells. Even their souls were sucked out. My stomach hurts. My stomach hurts. Why do I keep having diarrhea? Tell me, why is this happening? An extreme poison devil released a roar. Its entire body was condensed from black liquid, and it had 300 eyes. It released a foul stench, and large amounts of poison surged within its body. Its favorite thing was to eat all kinds of poisonous substances, but its body could not digest them in time, so it often had stomachaches and diarrhea in the wild. However, the things it excreted contained highly toxic substances that polluted the earth, turning the surrounding thousands of kilometers into a toxic swamp. It was equivalent to moving pollutants. Often, The planets it appeared on would turn into a living hell. Even after hundreds of millions of years, no one would be able to live there. It roared and went berserk. The venom on its body turned into sharp arrows and shot out, bombarding the surrounding cultivators. The venom instantly corroded their bodies. Ah! Countless people let out blood-curdling screams. This kind of venom was 10 times more terrifying than the venom refined by the 10,000 Poison Clan. Some people were instantly covered by the venom, and their entire body melted, leaving nothing behind. Even with magical treasures, they could not withstand the corrosion of the venom. In an instant, the magical treasures were completely corroded, and the runic arrays inside were all destroyed. Damned abyss demons, kill it! We must kill them all! Everyone roared and immediately attacked, using their mystiques. They had fought countless times with the abyss demons, and knew how terrifying they were. They could not be negotiated, nor could they coexist. They were naturally hostile races. Either this group of abyss demons died, or they died. Right now, they could not care about chasing after Xiaoping. All of them attacked the group of abyss demons, using all their skills, and almost risking their lives. Xiang Yuandong from the Palace of Darkness wanted to find Xiaoping and kill this scourge with one sword strike. However, Xiaoping had long fled, hiding in the depths of the void. Therefore, he vented his anger on the group of abyss demons. Waving the Source Time Whitebone sword in his hand, he killed one powerful abyss demon after another. He was invincible. At this time, Xiaoping stealthily neared the land formed from the black-yellow soil. Oh! As soon as he arrived, he immediately discovered that this land was very unusual. It was a single entity, and every inch of the soil was engraved with restrictive arrays. It seemed to have been smelted into a magical treasure. Even if many Lightning Tribulation Realm experts fought on it, they would not be able to damage it at all. Even after the restrictive arrays on this land were destroyed, they seemed to be slowly recovering. They had the ability to recover on their own. It was no wonder that the group of abyss demons had fled so quickly. They probably thought that if they did not escape, they would be sealed by the restored restrictive arrays again. This is the ginseng fruit tree? Xiaoping entered the black-yellow land and reached the deepest part of the land. There was an orchard that occupied tens of thousands of kilometers. There were 9 huge fruit trees in the depths of the orchard. Each tree was extremely tall and had well-developed roots. They occupied thousands of kilometers and reached hundreds of kilometers underground. At the same time, the 9 fruit trees seemed to have supreme spirituality, as though they had given birth to a weak intelligence. They completely fused with the black-yellow land and the restrictive arrays here, giving birth to a huge tree world domain. Anyone who stepped into this domain would be expelled or even destroyed. There were many ginseng fruits growing on the fruit trees. They were filled with the rich aura of spirit fruits. At the same time, they emitted circles of golden light, as though they contained the power of laws. It was extremely strange. I see. Xiaoping also understood why the group of abyss demons didn't destroy the ginseng fruit trees on this land. It turned out that the 9 ginseng fruit trees were the 9 cores of the restrictive arrays on this land. Under the tree world domain, the group of abyss demons couldn't do anything. If they dared to continue attacking, they would probably be suppressed again with a flip of their hands. Hence, this place had become a taboo area for the abyss demons. They didn't dare to approach. It seems like it won't be that easy to snatch this black-yellow land away. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. According to his previous plan, as long as he approached this land, he would immediately put the mountain river pearl into the space to suppress it with a wave of his hand. But now, it seemed that if he forcibly suppressed it, the 9 ginseng fruit trees would definitely resist. They would trigger the restrictive arrays inside, and endless energy would erupt. When that happened, he would be severely injured on the spot. The 9 ginseng fruit trees, that had lived for countless years, contained extraordinary energy. If they had intelligence, they would have long advanced to the sage realm. Chapter 1900. Just as Xiaoping was trying his best to think of a way to take this piece of Xianhuang land away, the world tree rooted in the void in the depths of his sea of consciousness suddenly shook. Suddenly, A strong aura of life and the aura of the world emanated from his body, instantly enveloping the entire piece of Xianhuang land pervasive. This was the supreme aura of the tree, the apex of all plants. The 9 ginseng fruit trees that had been sleeping in the depths of the orchard were suddenly awakened. Their huge bodies bent slightly, their branches swayed, and their leaves rustled, as if they were cheering. Such a posture was like meeting the ancestor of the tree, like a commoner meeting the emperor. The restrictive formations around the orchard were instantly opened, and a spacious safe passage appeared, as if welcoming Xia Ping into it. Whoosh! Xia Ping's figure flashed, and he immediately entered the depths of the orchard. He found that all the plants in the orchard had developed a sense of intimacy with him, as if they were welcoming him, the ancestor of the plants. Dong! He subconsciously reached out and gently tapped on one of the ginseng fruit trees. The world tree in the depths of his body trembled, and an emerald aura instantly gushed out, instilling in the depths of this ginseng fruit tree. At the same time, the other 8 ginseng fruit trees also trembled, as if they were extremely excited. They kept waving their branches, and the burnt yellow leaves fell and scattered on the ground, making a rustling sound. The 9 ginseng fruit trees were growing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The originally yellow bark, which seemed to have lost all its water, was falling rapidly, and was replaced by new bark. The branches on the trees trembled, and the yellow leaves fell, while the emerald leaves grew wildly. The branches were full of leaves, and the whole body exuded an aura of vitality. The roots in the depths of the earth were also constantly extending, wriggling like pythons, absorbing the nutrients in the depths of the earth. It was like a withered tree in the spring, and infinite vitality was born again. Resurrected. Xia Ping blinked his eyes. He finally knew what had just happened. These 9 ginseng fruit trees were really too old. No one knew how many years they had lived, but they were really old antiques. Even the lifespan of an ordinary planet was no more than this. Even as plants, their lifespan was much longer than ordinary creatures. But if they had not become sages, there would always be a day when their lifespan would come to an end. Today they had reached the end of their lifespan. However, now that he had encountered the world tree, and obtained a trace of the world tree's origin energy, he immediately regained his youth and regained his life. This was a special ability of the world tree. It could revive and transform plants. It had the power to turn something rotten into something magical. That was why the 9 ginseng fruit trees were so excited. After accepting the world tree's origin energy, Xia Ping sensed that he had formed a mental connection with the 9 ginseng fruit trees. It seemed like the world tree had formed a soul contract with them, making them subordinates of the world tree. It was as if he could control the 9 ginseng fruit trees with just a thought. At the same time, he easily controlled the restriction and formation of the entire Xianhuang land. It was as if he was controlling a magic treasure. There was no longer any power that resisted him. Very good, I finally got it. Xia Ping was overjoyed. Without hesitation, he waved his hand and immediately placed this piece of Xianhuang land into the space inside the mountain river Pearl, making it a small piece of land. However, the sudden disappearance of a piece of land immediately attracted the attention of those who were fighting with the abyss demons. After all, such a large piece of land had disappeared. It was a place where the abyss demons were sealed. It was impossible for them not to notice. What's going on? Why did that piece of Xianhuang land disappear? Someone was extremely shocked and didn't know what had happened. Damn it! That tortoise Wu Wudi took it away. The entire piece of land was taken away by him. Nothing was left. One of the 10,000 Poison Clan's elders gritted his teeth. He had been keeping a close eye on Wu Wudi and was aware of his every move. He had been looking for an opportunity to eliminate this shameless scourge, so he was aware of Wu Wudi's actions. What? The entire piece of land was taken away by him? What kind of joke is this? That piece of land itself is an unparalleled treasure. It is formed from Xianhuang soil. If we get it, we can immediately build an unparalleled herb garden and plant countless spiritual herbs. How did he take it away? An Yuanming sect elder was extremely anxious. In fact, when that piece of land appeared, he immediately recognized that it was the famous Xianhuang soil. It was a famous unique soil in the world. To an alchemist, it was an unparalleled treasure. No other treasure could replace it. The value of Xianhuang soil was indescribable. Originally, he had wanted to dig up a few pieces of that piece of land after exterminating this group of abyssal demons. Who would have thought that before he could do anything, the entire piece of land would be snatched away by Wu Wudi? Not even a single hair was left. It can't be. The entire piece of land is Xianhuang soil. Doesn't that mean we have missed out on an unparalleled treasure? Just how much is it worth? Someone pounded his chest in regret. If he had known this would happen, he would have stopped Wu Wudi. Such a large piece of Xianhuang soil had been taken away without any benefits. How much is it worth? There's no way to measure it. Even sages can't find much Xianhuang soil. This is a rare treasure. Even if you exchange it for an inferior grade sage artifact, I'm afraid not many people would be willing. The Yuanming sect elder gritted his teeth, feeling extremely jealous. Hearing this, the group of people felt so regretful that their intestines turned green. They were not knowledgeable enough, and could not immediately tell that the yellow soil was the famous Xianhuang soil. But those who were knowledgeable had their own selfish motives. They did not want this news to leak out, lest others fight with them for the treasure. But who would have thought that Wu Wudi would be so greedy that he would take away such a large piece of land without letting them obtain a single cent? No, that piece of land is not as simple as Xianhuang soil. It is also a precious medicine garden left behind by the good fortune saint. A heaven reflection sect elder clenched his fists. Just now, I activated my heaven reflection divine eye and saw through the array formation. I saw 9 famous ginseng fruit trees growing in that medicine garden. What did you say? Ginseng fruit trees? The legendary ginseng fruit that takes 10,000 years to bloom, 10,000 years to bear fruit, and 10,000 years to ripen? The ginseng fruit that can increase one's dermic powers, increase one's lifespan, and strengthen one's divine powers? Everyone screamed. That's right, it's the legendary ginseng fruit, the heaven reflection sect elder said bitterly. When he saw this, he was instantly tempted. He immediately wanted to kill his way to that piece of land and snatch all the ginseng fruits. Chapter 1901. I understand now. It's all part of that bitch Wu Wudi's plot. An elder of the Great Sky sect screamed, as if he had understood something. In fact, that bastard discovered the existence of the bound of universe long ago. However, because of the tyrannical restrictive array formation and the powerful abyssal demons, he couldn't do anything about it. Thus, that scoundrel intentionally went online to provoke us, causing us to lose our minds and seek revenge on him. Then, he borrowed our strength to break the restrictive spell formation of that continent and used us as a shield. At the same time, he also used us to fend off the demons sealed here. Then, that brat would have the opportunity to take this continent and obtain the ginseng fruit. We've been tricked. We've all been tricked by this kid. We've done so many things purely to help this kid gain benefits. But we've not only gotten nothing, but we've also suffered heavy casualties. He roared, his expression extremely ugly as he deduced the cause and effect of this matter. What an arrogant demon. Who does he think we are? He actually used us as pawns and played with us. He's gone too far. He's gone too far. A Buddhist elder gnashed his teeth. He hadn't expected his group to be played so miserably. They had been completely fooled. Damn it! Xiang Yuandong, the disciple of the Palace of Darkness, had a face as black as charcoal. Previously, he had taken out the medium-grade sage artifact, the Dawn Whitebone sword, and attacked with all his might. In the end, that kid had used the star-shifting array to teleport him away. That was why the restrictive array formation of the bound of universe had been split open by his sword. In other words, he had done Wu Wudi a huge favor. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for the restrictive array formation left behind by the Saint of Good Fortune to be destroyed so easily. Thinking of that kid's immense gratitude toward him, he couldn't help but feel angry. Capture him, capture Wu Wudi immediately. We can't let him take all the benefits. He tricked so many of us to death and used us as a shield. Now he wants to take all the benefits and leave? How can there be such a good thing? An elder of the angel tribe couldn't help but roar. Many of the angels were also angry. As one of the overlord races of the Western cosmos, they had never suffered such a big loss. Now they had been played by a human. It was a great humiliation. How? That bastard is a loach. He runs so fast that it's impossible to catch him. Someone said helplessly. Now they couldn't even see Wuwudi's back, let alone catch him. In the blink of an eye, that kid had disappeared without a trace. A bunch of fools. You dare to chat in the face of us abyssal demons? Die all of you. Many of the abyssal demons were enraged. In the face of these terrifying existences, these food actually dared to be careless and chat here. They were looking down on them too much. Get lost. We don't have time to care about you. We have important things to do. Let's kill these troublesome abyssal demons, and then find trouble with Wuwudi. We can't let him escape with the treasures. Kill. Kill all of these abyssal demons. It's all because of them. If not for them, we would have killed Wuwudi long ago. The people from the Palace of Darkness were all enraged. They blamed Wuwudi's mistake of running away on these abyssal demons. With new and old grudges added together, they immediately erupted with 300% of their battle strength. And although these abyssal demons were powerful, they had been imprisoned for countless years. After so many years, their strength had been greatly damaged. They were no longer at their peak. Against this group of top experts from all over the cosmos, they were forced to retreat again and again. Of course, they were terrifying monsters from the abyss after all. They were not so easily killed. Against such a counterattack, they fought to the death. This battle went on for 3 days and 3 nights. Most of the abyssal demons were killed, leaving behind huge corpses. Only a few saw that the situation was not good, and took the chance to escape, temporarily surviving. As for the Palace of Darkness, angels, Buddhists, and other factions, as well as many unaffiliated cultivators, they also suffered heavy losses. Although they had killed this group of abyssal demons, their casualties were not small. Most importantly, killing this group of abyssal demons did not benefit them at all. It was all a loss. The worst off was the leader of the Thunder Fiend race, Lei Bao. Because he was proficient in thunder techniques, he was extremely harmful to the abyssal demons. He immediately became a thorn in the eyes of the abyssal demons, and suffered a devastating blow. Therefore, this group of thunder fiends was basically slaughtered. Even Lei Bao's body was torn apart by the abyssal demons. His primordial spirit was destroyed, and nothing was left. It's over. We've finally killed most of these abyssal demons. We've won. Fuck, we've won my ass. I don't feel like I've won at all. It's all the frustration of being tricked. Wuwudi, it's all Wuwudi's fault. If not for that bastard, we wouldn't have fought to the death with this group of abyssal demons. In the end, all the benefits were snatched away by that brat, and we got nothing. Find that brat. Even if we have to dig 3 feet into the ground, we have to find that bastard. We won't rest until he's dead. I'm not done with Wuwudi in this life. Not at all. I've never suffered such a huge loss. I'll remember that bastard. Wait, don't let me see him. Otherwise, I'll immediately hug that bastard and die with him. Everyone gritted their teeth, filled with hatred for Wuwudi. If Wuwudi was here, he would definitely be burned to ashes by everyone's anger. After venting their anger, they went their separate ways. Because they had fought such an intense battle, although they did not die, they had suffered significant injuries. If they encountered other enemies now, they would be completely finished. They might even be ambushed. None of them dared to stay in this place. They quickly fled to other places to hide. After this group of people left, a figure walked out from the depths of the void. This person was Xia Ping. He used the black hole worm's spatial concealment ability to dig a temporary dimensional space in the void. He hid there and watched this group of people fight. When they all left, he would come out again to reap all the benefits. Such dense soul energy. It's all mine. Xia Ping was drooling. He waved his hand and used his devouring power to frantically collect the soul energy left in this void. At least 10,000 abyssal demons had died here. And there were also over 20,000 lightning tribulation eminences. The soul energy left behind was extremely shocking. Whoosh, after a few breaths, a large number of soul crystals quickly condensed and landed in his hand. And the flesh of these abyssal demons. I'll take them all away. Xia Ping moved the flesh of these abyssal demons into the Mountain River Pearl's dimensional space. To ordinary cultivators, the flesh of these abyssal demons was simply toxic. It was a pollutant. Because of the dense abyssal demonic aura left on them, ordinary living beings would be injured if they got close. But Xia Ping was different. He had the power to purify the abyssal demonic aura. As long as he purified the demonic aura of these abyssal demons, he would be able to leave behind the purest flesh energy. Whether it was refined into pills or placed on land, it would be an excellent choice to add fertilizer to the soil. Chapter 1902. At this time, the news of Wu Wudi's decisive battle with the Palace of Darkness, the Angel Clan, the Thunder Goblin Clan, and the Buddhist clan quickly spread throughout the creation map of heavens. Countless people knew about it. Everyone was concerned about what had happened, but when the news spread, everyone was in an uproar. They were dumbfounded. They had never expected such an outcome. How is that possible? That Wu Wudi is so abnormal. So many people ganged up on him. And even the disciples of the Palace of Darkness brought a mid-grade sage artifact with them. How could they not kill him? Many people were dumbfounded. Before this, they had thought that the arrogant kid was dead for sure. He had dared to fight a group of heroes alone. That was courting death. He would be killed at any moment. But now, not only was the kid not dead, but he had even left alive and well. The people who had gone against Wu Wudi had suffered 8 lifetimes of bad luck and suffered heavy losses. Don't say anymore. This is a conspiracy. Everyone was tricked by that bitch Wu Wudi. This is a trap. Who knows how many people have died? If I still believe a word from him, I'll eat shit immediately. Someone cursed. His anger towards Wu Wudi had reached its peak. A group of people curiously asked what had happened. They immediately learned the whole story from the survivors. He's despicable indeed. I knew this guy was not a good person, but I didn't expect this to be a complete conspiracy. I knew this kid wouldn't reveal his location for no reason. There was indeed a trap. But I didn't expect that kid's attainments and formations were so high. So many Thunder Tribulation Realm experts were there, but they couldn't find him. He's simply heaven-defying. The Buddhist clan, the Angel Clan, the Heavenly Reflection Sect, the 10,000 Poison Clan, the Palace of Darkness, and many other forces were all defeated by him. They suffered heavy losses. Who knows how many people died? The worst was the leader of the Thunder Goblin Clan, Lei Bao. He didn't even fight Wu Wudi before he was killed by a group of abyssal demons. Even all the elite Thunder Goblins died. They were torn apart by the abyssal demons. He killed so many Thunder Goblins. It seems that the Thunder Goblins will treat Wu Wudi as their mortal enemy. They won't rest until he's dead. So what if he's dead? Why would Wu Wudi care? In any case, I've already offended so many enemies. More debts won't burden me. Everyone discussed the matter. They were completely stunned by it. They did not expect Wu Wudi to be so sinister. From the beginning to the end, it was all a scam to serve his own purpose. The most hateful thing was that even though they knew this, they still foolishly stepped into the trap. Moreover, even if Wu Wudi had told them that it was a trap, many of them would still have gone over. After all, their hatred was too deep. They would not have missed this opportunity. This was an overt plot that had grasped their Achilles' heel. After all, who would have thought that Wu Wudi would be so powerful? He was actually able to toy around with this group of almighties with his array. They had truly underestimated Wu Wudi's ability. Not only was this kid's martial arts prowess powerful, but even his formation mastery was unfathomable and beyond imagination. However, this kid has really gained a lot of benefits this time. Not only did he obtain a large amount of black-yellow soil, he also obtained 9 ginseng fruit trees. Who knows how many ginseng fruits have been condensed on them? If he were to sell them, the price would be absolutely terrifying. Some people were envious and jealous. If we can kill Wu Wudi, the wealth we will obtain will be unimaginable. Some people's eyes were filled with greed and murderous intent. They saw Wu Wudi as a fat sheep. Wu Wudi is not that easy to kill. He would have died long ago, and he would not have tricked so many almighties. Someone next to him sneered. thinking that the other party was daydreaming. It would not be that easy to kill Wu Wuti. That kid is indeed powerful. His magical powers are extraordinary. But he does not need to fight head-on to kill someone. Sometimes he uses poison, and sometimes he uses curses. Some people sneered again and again unmoved. As the saying went, humans die in pursuit of wealth, and birds die in pursuit of food. The benefits that Wu Wuti had were so great that they were salivating. In fact, after hearing this news, even more people wanted to kill Wu Wuti. Everyone knew that Wu Wuti had countless treasures on him. Once he was killed, they would immediately become rich overnight. However, having this idea and taking action were two different things. Just trying to find Wu Wuti's whereabouts was difficult for countless people. On another continent, many disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu had gathered. They had also heard the news. Who is this Wu Wuti? He actually made those madmen from the Palace of Darkness suffer so much. Because of this, the demons from the abyss have been mobilized. Some of the disciples from the Palace of Darkness have died. They've suffered heavy losses, but they haven't gained anything. A disciple from the Holy Land of Taichu said, "Damn, I thought that except for the Central Universe, all other places were barren lands with few people who could fight. I didn't expect that there would be so many monsters here." A man in white was speechless. Yes, Feng Xingyu, Zhang Haodong, and Meng Jinshuan were also beaten up by a disciple from the Qingkuan sect. Their injuries are still swollen like pigs. This barren land is unfathomable, and there are masters among the people. Another man in blue felt the same way. Shut up. Don't flatter others. We are disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu. We are not inferior to others. The eldest brother of the Holy Land of Taichu shouted, "Yes, yes, yes." The group of people nodded repeatedly. However, these things had indeed dampened their arrogance. They were no longer as arrogant and insufferably arrogant as before. Okay, cut the crap. There is a palace in front. It is said to be an alchemy palace left by the Saint of Fortune. Maybe there is a creation pill in it. If we can get it, we will have hope to become sages. The eldest brother said. Yes, eldest brother. Everyone nodded. They were all excited at the thought of the creation pill. Even for the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu, it was an incredible treasure. It was priceless. In the dark starry sky, many elders of the Qingkuan sect and sect master Zhu Xian gathered together. They kept contacting each other, and finally gathered in one place. The universe is so complicated. I didn't expect such a cruel wanted criminal Wu Wuti. Fortunately, we didn't go and join in the fun. Otherwise, I don't know how many people will die. An elder rejoiced. Don't worry about that Wu Wuti. It's better not to provoke such a fierce person. If we can't kill him, we will be in trouble. By the way, where is junior brother Xia? Is he in any danger now? Sect master Zhu Xian waved his hand. No, I contacted him once before. Junior brother Xia seems to have found a relic, and is cultivating in seclusion to digest what he has learned. An elder said. It seems that junior brother Xia also has his own adventure. Since he is not coming to gather, forget it. Everyone has their own fate. Let's move. I just found a piece of land that seems to have a hidden treasure. Maybe it is an opportunity. Sect Master Zhu Xian said in a deep voice. Yes, Sect Master. Chapter 1903. At this moment, in a remote land in the fortune map of heavens, there was no one around. It was a barren land. Xia Ping hid in this place, and entered the space of the pearl of mountains and rivers, ignoring what was happening outside. This is the ginseng fruit. Xia Ping plucked a ginseng fruit from the ginseng fruit tree. It was the size of a fist and looked like a nascent soul. It emitted rich spiritual qi. It seemed that there was a huge amount of mysterious energy in the depths of the fruit. It made all the cells in his body restless, wanting to devour it immediately. And there were a total of 108 such ginseng fruits. In fact, after countless years, the 9 ginseng fruit trees had not only borne this many fruits, but because no one had picked them and no one had preserved them, most of them had rotted away. But even so, 108 ginseng fruits was shocking enough. If this news spread, who knew how many people would be envious and jealous? This was a true treasure of the universe. The green ox was also very excited. It told Xiaoping that if these ginseng fruits were refined into ginseng elixirs, the medicinal power would increase by at least 50%. He should give all of these ginseng fruits to it to refine pills. That way, they could get the most out of it. I wonder what it tastes like. Xiaoping was very curious. He ignored the green ox's request and just wanted to taste it. After all, the ginseng fruit was too famous. It was the kind that everyone knew. He was also curious about what it tasted like. He subconsciously threw a ginseng fruit into his mouth. It melted in his mouth and immediately melted into a large amount of liquid that flowed down his throat and into the depths of his stomach. A fragrance spread throughout his body. It was so delicious that he almost swallowed his tongue. This was a supreme delicacy that seemed to contain the essence of all life. There was no need to cook it at all. Just the taste of the fruit itself surpassed everything else. Rumble in an instant, his entire body shook violently. The liquid was like magma, emitting endless energy that flowed into his limbs and almost spread to every corner of his body. Without a doubt, in addition to the excellent taste, the ginseng fruit also contained an unimaginably huge amount of life energy. This was the spiritual qi of the universe that had been absorbed for tens of thousands of years, the nutrients of the Xianhuang soil, and the essence of the ginseng fruit tree itself. This was like a top cultivator who had cultivated for 30,000 years. Now that it was concentrated into a single fruit, one could imagine how enormous the energy was. It was simply frightening. So hot. Xiaoping felt his body heat up like a furnace. This energy was like the sun, burning everything. If it wasn't for his powerful physique, he would have long since been burned to death. It was no wonder that the ginseng fruit could only be eaten by immortals. If mortals got their hands on it, even if they ate a little, they would explode from the energy and die. Sometimes, immortal fruits were things that mortals didn't have the fortune to enjoy. They couldn't bear it at all. At this time, the spiritual power in the depths of his body was increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. It was like a flood, filling up his 9 purple mansions in an instant. The energy contained in this ginseng fruit was simply too huge. It surpassed any pill that he had taken before. Just one ginseng fruit had saved him thousands and tens of thousands of years of condensing magic power. Dong! There was almost no obstruction. Xiaoping's 9 purple mansions shook fiercely. It was as if heaven and earth were being split apart. The void shattered, and a certain bottleneck was easily broken. Middle stage law phase realm. At this moment, he knew that he had finally advanced to the middle stage of the transcendence realm. He didn't feel happy or sad. He knew that this was a matter of course. Even if he didn't take the ginseng fruit, he would have advanced sooner or later. However, after taking this ginseng fruit, there was no doubt that it greatly reduced the process and time of his advancement. Whoosh! The spiritual power in the 9 purple mansions turned into a huge whirlpool. It was like an awl, drilling into the depths of the void. The deeper it went, the faster the space opened up. Every purple mansions was expanding towards the depths of the sea of consciousness. The area of the space was increasing. The spiritual power in the depths of his purple mansions was also rising. Almost in an instant, the 9 purple mansions had doubled in size. It was as if every space had become a small world. Because Xiaoping had 9 purple mansions, his spiritual power had increased by 9 times. Even because the purple mansions were expanding crazily, his primordial spirit was also strengthening. The range of his divine sense kept increasing. In the end, it had expanded to 20 billion kilometers. This kind of divine sense was simply terrifying. Even an ordinary thunder tribulation realm cultivator couldn't compare to it. With just a thought, his divine sense seemed to condense into a substance. He could interfere with space. With just a thought, he could instantly kill countless mortals. It was effortless. This was a supreme realm, where he could kill a country with a glare. This feels good. However, this wasn't the end. Xiaoping felt that the medicinal power of the ginseng fruit was still fermenting. A huge amount of energy surged into the depths of every cell. It was as if it was transforming his body from the outside. The golden crow of hell cells in his body were also awakening crazily. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million. In the end, he had awakened 15 million golden crow of hell cells. In other words, he had awakened about 70 to 80 million golden crow of hell cells. He wasn't far from 100 million golden crow of hell cells. Such power! Xiaoping clenched his fists. The blood in his body was boiling. His blood almost turned dark gold. It was extremely noble. It was as if he was a supreme existence. His power was also extremely tyrannical. It was as if a golden crow of hell had descended into his body. He possessed the power of a divine beast. Every inch of his muscles contained explosive energy. The depths of every cell contained lava-like energy. If they exploded, it would be equivalent to a nuclear bomb. My vitality is too strong. Xiaoping felt that he had become the legendary Tripitaka's flesh. Due to his powerful vitality, even if he cut off a piece of his flesh and let a mortal consume it, they would probably live for 5,000 years without any diseases or disasters. If a cultivator obtained it, they would immediately comprehend countless divine power profundities. At the same time, their lifespan would increase by 1,000 years. It was many times better than many pills in the world. My lifespan has also increased. Xiaoping's divine sense sank into the depths of his body. He sensed that his lifespan was also constantly increasing. It exceeded the imagination of all living beings. He had a lifespan of about 80 million years. It was enough for him to live until the end of time. Xiaoping felt extremely emotional. He remembered that on Earth in his previous life, humans had only appeared for a few million years. However, his lifespan had already reached 80 million years. Chapter 1904. Inside the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River, while Xiaoping was cultivating in seclusion, consolidating his mid-stage transcendence realm cultivation, the immemorial species captured by Xiaoping, such as Fei crow demon bird, amethyst tiger, nine-headed lion, void butterfly, golden ant, and so on, were being publicly auctioned. There were a total of 36 of these immemorial species. The host was the Azure Bull. The participants of the auction were the rabbit ear race, angel race, Luohan race, winged race, and so on. Because the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River was really short of people, the medicinal field that could be cultivated was constantly increasing. They were very short of manpower, so they needed a lot of hard labor. The girls who managed the medicinal field were very tired every day. These immemorial species were caught by Xiaoping, so they suddenly became the best hard labor and were favored by the girls. At the same time, they couldn't cause any trouble because the moment they entered the Pearl of Mountain and River, the Azure Bulls sealed their cultivation, so they couldn't cause any damage in the Pearl of Mountain and River. The group of immemorial species was extremely sullen. They were fierce creatures outside, and their ominous names shook the universe. Now they actually became prisoners and were being auctioned in public. That kind of sullenness was indescribable. Especially Fei and Crow Demon Bird. They were even more indignant. They always wanted to escape, unwilling to be someone else's slave here. The auction has begun. The Azure Bull was hosting the auction. He pointed at 3 of them. Fae, Crow, Demon, Bird, Amethyst, Tiger, you 3 go up. Be obedient and don't play tricks. Hearing this, Fae, Crow, Demon, Bird, and Amethyst Tiger obediently went up without saying anything, because they had suffered enough these days. If they didn't listen, they would be beaten up. However, Faye was still very unconvinced and secretly sent a voice transmission. If this damn old man is the tool spirit of this spatial magic treasure, and has a bit of ability, believe it or not, I can swallow him in one gulp. Such a small thing is not even enough for me to chew a few times. I swear, no matter which guy I'm sold to, I'll turn that bastard's medicinal field upside down, and make this group of stupid slave owners pay a heavy price. How dare you make Faye do manual labor, and manage the herbal fields? What a joke. As a dignified Fae, you only know how to destroy things. This is simply a humiliation to us. That's a given. These stupid slave owners think that they have us under their control. It's just a pipe dream. Let's pretend to be well-behaved for now, and wait for the right time to kill these idiots. The baleful crow demonic bird also revealed a sinister smile, as it spoke in a matter-of-fact manner. At this moment the green ox said, "All right, there are 3 auction items in front. Choose one and auction it. The highest bidder wins. I want that amethyst tiger. I want a ton of crystal rice. Me too, give me 2 tons. 3 tons. One by one." The girls raised the price to 3 tons of crystal fragrant rice. All right, 3 tons going once, 3 tons going twice, 3 tons going thrice. Deal. This amethyst tiger is yours. The green ox pointed at one of the winged girls. Thus, the amethyst tiger was dragged down, and obtained by the winged race girl. The baleful crow demonic bird. The fae. Actually, this is not bad. At least we didn't get sold. After a moment of silence, the baleful crow demonic bird said. The fae nodded. You're right. I have the same feeling. I don't want to be sold either. I don't want to be the slave of those stupid humans. It's a great insult to the dignity of the fae race. To be honest, no matter which bastard bought me, he'd better kill me on the first day. Otherwise, I'll turn his territory upside down. He'll suffer a complete loss, and he'll have to pay whatever he spends. The baleful crow demonic bird showed a ferocious look. All right, the next auction item, the 9-headed lion. Let the auction begin. The green ox waved his hand, and asked the 9-headed lion to go to the exhibition stage. This is the 9-headed lion? It's so majestic. I can tell it's a good laborer. I'll give you 5 tons of crystal rice. 7 tons of crystal rice. 8 tons. 9 tons. One by one, the girls looked at the 9-headed lion and said their prices. All right, 9 tons of crystal rice. Going once, going twice, going thrice. All right, no one has a higher price. 9 tons of crystal rice sold. This 9-headed lion is yours. The green ox made the final decision. A girl from the cat ears race excitedly pulled the 9-headed lion back. The baleful crow demonic bird. The fae. Yes, there's nothing we can do about the 9-headed lion. That guy is too strong. And his entire body is covered in muscles. It has 9 heads. And I suspect that all 9 of its heads are muscles. Everyone knows that it's a superior labor force with extraordinary strength. The baleful crow demonic bird said. Yes, it's full of muscles. Buying it is equivalent to buying 2. Buy 1 get 1 free. Only an idiot wouldn't buy it. The fae nodded. The baleful crow demonic bird said. If it were me, I'd buy it even if I went bankrupt. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm a little confused now. How did that human Wu-Woody catch it? If that guy wants to escape, even a few universe fortresses can't stop him. He can even pull planets. The fae sighed. Alright, next, the golden ant. Let the auction begin. The green ox continued. Seeing the golden ant coming up, the baleful crow demonic bird, and the fae showed a trace of contempt in their eyes. They straightened their bodies as if they could read each other's minds. Golden ant, a girl from the rabbit ears race said. 2 tons of crystal rice. 2 tons of crystal rice. Does anyone want to increase the price? Going once, going twice, going thrice. Okay, no one wants to increase the price. 2 tons of crystal rice sold. This golden ant is yours. The green ox announced that the auction was closed. The The baleful crow demonic bird. The fae. Something's wrong. The baleful crow demonic bird looked at the fae with a gloomy expression. Yes, it's so strange to choose slaves like this. To be honest, do these guys really know what kind of slaves they want? The fae was a little dissatisfied. The baleful crow demonic bird felt a little angry and said, "They actually chose the golden ant instead of us. Such a standard is too strange. Do they know what golden ants can do? They're just ants. They can't do anything. They're small and only know how to eat all day. Buying them is a losing business. What are they thinking? Women are like this. Their hair is long but their knowledge is short. They probably see that they're golden and beautiful, so they want to catch them as pets." The fae despised. Slaves aren't ornamental objects. What's the use of beautiful ones? What we need are big, strong, hard-working, and a bunch of ignorant women. Chapter 1905. To be honest, is it because we are standing in the wrong position? Those guys are standing on the far left, which is also the position closest to the auctioneer. That's why they chose them. The baleful crow demon bird raised its doubts. It's very possible. Maybe it has a lot to do with the position. Those guys like to choose slaves close to them. To be honest, if I had stood on the far left at the beginning, I would have been sold a long time ago. There is no doubt about it. The fae nodded in agreement. It felt that this was the most reasonable reason. Okay. Next, the three-eyed magic monkey. At this time, the black ox announced the next candidate slave, and let the three-eyed magic monkey, the primordial species, go to the auction platform. Seeing the short three-eyed magic monkey, the baleful crow demon bird, and the fae looked at each other with satisfaction. They saw each other's confidence. Okay, it's settled. It seems that I will be sold this time. Brother, I don't think I can stay with you next time. The baleful crow demon bird breathed a sigh of relief. That's for sure. Brother, good luck. You must turn those abominable guys upside down, and show us the elegance of the primordial species. We can't be looked down upon. The fae said, "Three-eyed magic monkey? I want it. 8 tons of crystal rice." A girl from the Sucking Blood clan immediately started the auction. 8 tons. Someone offers 8 tons. Is there any higher price? Going once, going twice, going thrice. Okay, deal. 8 tons of crystal rice. This three-eyed magic monkey is yours. The black ox made the final decision. Damn it. Is there any justice? What happened? You chose a monkey instead of me? This is too much. You look down on the baleful crow demon bird. Do you know how powerful our clan is? We are primordial fierce birds. Do you know anything about primordial fierce birds? The baleful crow demon bird cursed. Shady business. There must be some shady business. This is a bullshit auction. Don't you have any eyes? Do you know how to auction slaves? You like a monkey, but you don't like me. The fae was so angry that it couldn't bear it anymore. Take a look for yourselves. Is that monkey material suitable for planting medicinal herbs? It only knew how to climb trees or eat bananas. It didn't know how to do anything. What was the point of choosing it? Of course, brother, I'm not saying this to target you. The main thing is that this group of people is too much. They don't have any foresight or common sense. I suspect that they haven't gone to school and don't know how to choose slaves. The baleful crow demonic bird said. Is that so? Stupid bird. Why does it sound like you're targeting me? And every word you're saying is targeting me. The three-eyed devil monkey's expression was ugly, as it looked at the crow fiend devil bird with hostility. Brother crow demon bird is right. This is not a personal attack, but a statement of fact. Everyone look at this monkey. It has shifty eyes, and there is nothing about it that is suitable for farming. If you let it work, it will definitely climb up a tree and be lazy. There is no reason to choose this monkey. The fae shouted. The three-eyed devilish monkey's face turned even darker. It was as black as charcoal, and it really wanted to beat these two fellows up. Enough. Slaves are not allowed to speak. All of you shut up. The green ox said in a deep voice. Hearing this, the crow fiend devil bird and the fae immediately shut their mouths and didn't dare to speak anymore. The following auction also continued. After 3 hours, almost all of the primordial species were sold. Only the crow fiend devil bird and the Fae were left on the auction stage. The two of them felt extremely humiliated. Aside from them, all of the primordial species had been bought. Only the two of them were left. This was too disgraceful and too shameful. Alright, the last two primordial species have not been sold. The starting price is a ton of crystal fragrant rice. Buy one get one free. The green ox said. He planned to sell the two together. Buy one get one free. However, the girls present glanced at each other. No one had the intention to make a bid. It seems like no one is bidding. Then let's leave it at that. These two are not qualified to be slaves. In the future, they will be used as breeding pigs and give birth to a bunch of small primordial species. The green ox made the decision to leave it at that. Hearing this, the expressions of the crow fiend devil bird and the Fae changed greatly. Even being slaves was better than being breeding pigs. Being ravaged by women day and night was such an unbearable pain. They definitely couldn't live such a humiliating life. Wait, don't go. Don't go. I the Fae am very strong. Just my body is 13,000 kilometers long. Even a planet can be crushed by me. The Fae shouted. I can even endure hardships. Even if I don't have a bed, it doesn't matter. I can completely sleep in the wild. With the ground as my bed and the sky as my blanket, I can endure any hardships. By me. No, by me. As a crow fiend devil bird, the worst thing about me is that I like to pursue perfection. I will only stop when I do everything to the best of my ability. The crow fiend devil bird shouted. There was once a pest that appeared in the 3,000 li of farmland I managed. I had to inspect it from top to bottom and catch all the pests before I was willing to stop. If you buy me, I'm sure the management of the medicinal fields will be perfect. Every year, you will have a good harvest and make a lot of money. The girls present didn't pay attention to it. They packed up their things and were about to leave. Wait, don't go. Please don't go. Did I say that before? I am very obedient. I will do whatever you tell me to do. I am a completely loyal dog. No one is more loyal than me. The Fae immediately became anxious. If 1 ton is not enough, then half a ton is not enough. We can buy one and get one free. Such a cost-effective thing is very rare. If not, we can do it for free. Don't you want it for free? That's too much. Don't you have any sympathy? The crow fiend devil bird was so anxious that its face turned green. It felt that its dignity had been completely swept away. However, in order to avoid becoming a breeding pig, it didn't hesitate to abandon its dignity. It seems that no one is willing to buy you. You don't even want it for free. I have never seen such a useless primordial descendant like you. It seems that only by becoming a breeding pig will you have a little bit of use. The azure ox wanted to catch the two and lock them up. No, I don't want to become a breeding pig. No, help, help. Someone save us. The Fae and the crow fiend devil bird screamed at the top of their lungs. However, no matter how they screamed, no one paid attention to them. Pa! The azure ox grabbed them with his big hand and temporarily locked them up. He would deal with them in the future. Damn it! Woo Woody, I am absolutely irreconcilable with you. Sooner or later, I will escape. You bunch of blind bastards. The Fae and the crow fiend devil bird were both half dead from anger. They were in extreme despair. However, they were all caught and couldn't resist at all. The amethyst tiger, 9-headed lion, golden ant, and the other primordial descendant species were extremely glad when they saw this scene. Fortunately, they didn't become those primordial descendant species that no one wanted for free. Otherwise, they could only end up as breeding pigs. They also raised their spirits. They had to work hard and absolutely couldn't be abandoned. Otherwise, they would become the two useless Fae and crow fiend devil bird. Chapter 1906. More than a month later, in the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers, Xiaoping had finally completely consolidated his cultivation at the intermediate stage of the Transcendence realm. He had thoroughly mastered his magic power, divine sense and magical power. He could use them freely and fuse them into one. At this moment he was several times stronger than before. Not only had his magic power and divine sense been greatly enhanced, but even the bloodline in his body had become much richer. He felt that it wouldn't be long before the number of golden crow cells, awakened in his body, would reach 100 million. At that time, he would welcome a terrifying heavenly tribulation with unimaginable power. Boom! With a thought, Xiaoping operated the magic power in his body. The Kuei Ox, Golden Crow of Hell, Heavenly Dragon, Divine Elephant Star Body, Thousand-Armed Buddha, Thousand-Eyed Demon Taotai, and the World Tree all rushed out at the same time. These 9 heaven and earth forms were even more powerful and condensed into a solid state. They had also grown a lot. They were thousands of feet tall, like giants, exuding a terrifying sense of oppression. Without using magic treasures, he could probably even defeat a powerhouse at the peak of the Thunder Retribution realm. Beep! At this moment, the system's voice was heard. Congratulations, host. You have angered the Palace of Darkness, the Thunder Demon Clan, the Angel Clan, the Buddhist sect, and other forces. You have incurred a large amount of hatred. This time, you have received a total of 120 hatred crystals. I hope you will continue to work hard. 120 hatred crystals. Xiaoping heard this voice and immediately smiled. It seemed that this plan was very effective. He had incurred a large amount of hatred, in addition to the hatred crystals he had obtained before. He had a total of 440 hatred crystals on him. He wasn't too far away from getting 1,000 hatred crystals. By the way, I wonder how those primordial species are doing. Xiaoping walked out of his seclusion. He suddenly remembered the many primordial species that he had captured before. At that time, he was planning to break through to the intermediate stage of the Transcendence realm, so he had no time to manage them. Therefore, he left these primordial species to the Green Ox to manage. He did not know what was going on now. With a thought, he immediately summoned the Green Ox. Whoosh! The Green Ox's figure flashed and immediately appeared in front of Xiaoping. It was the artifact spirit of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. It could teleport in this space and reach any corner with just a thought. It also quickly knew what Xiaoping wanted to ask. Master, don't worry. This group of archaic descendants won't be able to cause any trouble. They are already obedient and recognize their status as slaves. They are currently working hard for us. The Green Ox smiled. Really? Xiaoping's expression was strange. He knew how proud and arrogant these primordial descendants were. Wanting them to work obediently was probably more difficult than ascending to the heavens. Now they were actually subdued by the Azure Ox. With a wave of his hand, he mobilized the energy of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. Instantly, a virtual projection appeared. It was the scene of many primordial descendants working. A young girl from the winged race was riding on the amethyst tiger. She was plowing deep ravines and planting spirit grains in the pear fields. In just a few breaths of time, an area of several hundred miles of farmland had been cleared, and large amounts of spirit grains had been planted. It had to be said that the amethyst tiger was worthy of being an archaic descendant. Its work efficiency was leveraged. In addition, there were also golden ants, 9-headed lions, 3-eyed devil monkeys, and other primordial descendants that were captured to work. They were also very diligent and didn't have the slightest intention of slacking off. What about the Fei and the baleful crow demon bird? Xiaoping found that 2 primordial descendants were missing and not working. Because no one wanted them and they liked to slack off, they didn't work hard, so they were temporarily locked up. I was just thinking about how to make use of the waste and let them breed and give birth to a bunch of small primordial descendants. This is a good research topic. The Green Ox had a fanatical expression. With a wave of its hand, a virtual projection appeared. The Fei and baleful crow demon bird immediately appeared in front of Xiaoping. However, these 2 primordial descendants were very miserable. They were locked up in the cave and seemed to have starved for a long time. Now, they were already dispirited and had a look of despair. All right. Xiaoping nodded. Since he knew that these primordial descendants wouldn't cause any big trouble, he was relieved. Handing these primordial descendants over to the Green Ox to manage was clearly the right thing to do. That's right, how are the 9 ginseng fruit trees? He thought of the ginseng fruit trees he obtained before. Their condition is very good. Hearing Xiaoping mention this matter, the Green Ox seemed to be very excited. The land formed from the black yellow earth is indeed powerful. There are large amounts of life and active substances inside, very suitable for the growth of spirit medicines. The 9 ginseng fruit trees are also growing very well and are full of vitality. I estimate that in another 30,000 years, they can bear another batch of ginseng fruits. We can continuously obtain these spirit fruits. However, more importantly, I discovered that on that piece of land, deep in the soil, there are actually many seeds of ginseng fruit trees left behind. They still possess very strong vitality. Ginseng fruit tree seeds? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. That's right, seeds. The green ox was so excited that it danced with joy. According to what Master said before, the 9 ginseng fruit trees are on the verge of death. As a living creature, they are also frantically leaving behind many descendants and seeds. After countless years, they have also borne large amounts of ginseng fruits. However, because no one can enter, these ginseng fruits have all rotted on the ground, and their flesh has seeped into the depths of the soil. Although the flesh has rotted, the seeds inside have not. Instead, they are buried in the depths of the soil, waiting to grow, break out of the shell, and have a chance to be reborn. It indicated that these ginseng fruit tree seeds were in a dormant state. Because no one had activated them or cultivated them, they were still in their most primitive state. However, as long as it carefully cultivated them, these seeds could immediately be revived. In fact, they could even grow into mature ginseng fruit trees in the future. How many of these seeds are there? Xiaoping asked. I carefully counted. There are 18,793 of them. If all of them are still alive, then we will have at least 18,000 ginseng fruit trees. It won't be a problem for us to surpass the Good Fortune Saint's results. The green ox was brimming with confidence. Although the Good Fortune Saint was fierce, everyone had their own specialties. When it came to cultivating plants, the green ox had a strong confidence in himself. However, the most important thing was that its master had the existence of the world tree. With the purest source strength of this plant, no matter how much it was cultivated, these ginseng fruit trees would not die. In fact, cultivating ginseng fruit trees was extremely difficult. If they were not cultivated properly, and the nutrients weren't sufficient, they would immediately die. Thus, over the years, even the Good Fortune Saint had only managed to cultivate 9 ginseng fruit trees. Chapter 1907. Where's the ginseng pill? How's the concoction going? Xiaoping asked. He couldn't wait to get his hands on the ginseng pill. Who knew how many years of magic power he would gain from consuming one? Because he had the 9 general principles sea of consciousness, it was 100 times more difficult for him to advance to the next level than for ordinary people. Without the help of such pills, it would take a lot of time. There are still a few months before I can successfully concoct it. There are many processes, and every kind of spiritual medicine needs to be concocted properly, the green ox replied, indicating that it would take a long time. Xiaoping nodded. He understood. After all, concocting pills was a very difficult task. A slightly more precious pill would take more than 3 months to concoct. If it was a saint-level pill, it would probably take more than 100 years to concoct. By the way, has anything happened in the map of heavens these days? After understanding what had happened in the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers, Xiaoping wanted to know what had happened in the outside world. After all, he had been in seclusion for such a long time that he was very isolated from the outside world. Most importantly, he would be leaving the map of heavens in a few days. He still hadn't obtained the famous saint-level pill, the fortune pill. Of course, even if he didn't get the fortune pill after obtaining the ginseng fruit trees, it wouldn't be a big problem. Nothing special has happened. There's still no news of the fortune pill appearing. Or perhaps it has already appeared, but someone deliberately concealed it. After all, it's a supreme treasure, the green ox said in a low voice. The azure ox said in a low voice, indicating that while Xiaoping was in seclusion, the myriad heavens fortune diagram had been calm and peaceful, and nothing earth-shattering had happened. If not, then forget it. Xiaoping waved his hand. In any case, it would be over in a few days. He'd better stay in the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. After all, the map of heavens was very large. He wouldn't be able to create anything in a few days. Boom. Suddenly, the entire space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers shook violently. What happened? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. Such a thing had never happened before. Master, there seems to be a huge change in the map of heavens. Because of the energy fluctuations outside, the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers has been affected. The Green Ox immediately knew the cause of the matter. Such a thing happened. Xiaoping's figure flashed. He immediately left the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers and arrived outside. He immediately sensed that the surrounding space was violently shaking, as if a mysterious and powerful energy was brewing. Whoosh! In the next second, this energy instantly enveloped Xiaoping's entire body. With stellar transposition, Xiaoping didn't even have time to react before he was teleported to another place. Huh! Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and looked around. He discovered that he had been teleported to a strange and mysterious land. The surroundings were lush with countless green plants. It was full of vitality. At the same time, this continent was filled with dense natural energy, so dense that it was almost corporeal, transforming into spiritual liquid. Every breath of it seemed to have the effect of increasing one's life force and constitution. There was no doubt that this continent was a holy land for cultivation. Moreover, he was not the only one who had been transported to this place. As time passed, light flickered, and a dense crowd of people appeared around him. They were all the almighty beings who had entered the creation map of heavens. They didn't expect something like this to happen. They were teleported to this place in an instant. Seeing so many strangers around them, they immediately became vigilant and guarded against each other. Without knowing what was going on, they did not want to act rashly. After all, to be able to teleport so many people to this place without any resistance, this power was not to be underestimated. Everyone, do any of you know where this place is? I'm not sure. I've never seen this continent before. Is it still in the creation map of heavens? Who exactly has the power to teleport so many of us to this place at the same time? Could it be a sage? Even if it's not a sage, it must be in existence at the level of a sage. Otherwise, it's impossible for it to have such power. Stop guessing. I feel that this is definitely the power of the creation map of heavens. Only a peerless sage weapon like this could do something like this so easily. The crowd discussed among themselves. They were also very confused and wanted to know what was going on. Rumble, before they could figure out what was going on, a huge scarlet ancient furnace suddenly appeared in the sky above the continent. There were many pictures engraved on it. There were divine beasts such as the vermilion bird, the black tortoise, the azure dragon, and the white tiger. There were also ancient ferocious beasts such as the Baifeng, the blue luan, the Tao Tai, and the Kuimping. It emitted an ancient and desolate aura, suppressing the world. It was as if the ancient furnace had become the only thing in the world the moment it appeared. It was filled with an overwhelming aura, as if a real sage had descended, causing everyone to feel suffocated. A high-grade sage weapon, the ancient furnace of desolation. Someone immediately recognized the ancient furnace. This is one of the Sage of Good Fortune's life treasures. It is a tyrannical treasure used to refine countless pills. To think that it would appear in a place like this, inside the creation map of heavens. There had been countless people who had tried to find traces of the ancient furnace of desolation, but no one had been able to find it. There were even people who believed that it had been destroyed in the Great War and turned into ashes. But who would have thought that it would appear inside the creation map of heavens? It must have been hiding here all along. No wonder no one had been able to find traces of the ancient furnace of desolation. Your luck isn't bad. Suddenly, the ancient furnace of desolation's voice rang out. It was grand, distant, dignified, unfathomable, and filled with a sense of oppression. After 100,000 years, I have finally refined a furnace of pills, including the good fortune pill. My alchemy Tao has reached perfection, and I have comprehended it. Today, it has been upgraded to a peerless sage weapon. Those who come are fated. As for these pills, Whoever is fated can take them. What? Everyone was shocked. They didn't think that the famous ancient furnace of desolation would be upgraded to a peerless sage weapon. It has to be known that after becoming a peerless sage weapon, one's magic power would be unfathomable. Even a normal sage wouldn't be able to do anything to it. That was why the creation map of heavens was so free and unfettered. It was because it was a sage-level existence. Such an existence wasn't as simple as a mere treasure. It had already transformed into a unique life form. Furthermore, once a treasure attained the Tao, the power it could unleash would be even more terrifying. Not even an invincible sage would be able to match it. They were actually lucky enough to witness a treasure that had been upgraded from a high-grade sage weapon to a peerless sage weapon. While the ancient furnace of great desolation opened up a red passageway. Balls of light instantly shot out from the sky and flew in all directions. The balls of light were like meteors as they fell from the sky, emitting an unparalleled radiance. Chapter 1908. It can't be. There are actually people giving pills? Is there such a good thing in this world? Someone said. Look up in the sky. Heavens, there are essence yang pills, earth spirit pills, extreme sovereign pills, clear soul pills, broad hill pills, congealing blue pills, azure frost pills, and so on. All of these top pills are priceless. My mother, there really is a revival good fortune pill inside. Before anyone could question this, a supreme elder, with an incomparably deep understanding of pills, couldn't help but shout out. His divine sense could feel a massive number of pills contained within these balls of light. There were at least 10,000 of them. Moreover, there were tens of thousands of these balls of light. They flew in all directions of this mysterious continent, emitting a rich pill smell that was mesmerizing to the heart. How could there be so many pills? Don't they need money? That's right. Just how did they refine so many pills? What a joke. This is the ancient furnace of great desolation, a high-grade saint artifact that once followed the saint of good fortune. Its wealth is unimaginable. Even an ordinary saint cannot compare to it. How could it take out so many pills? That's true. To us, these pills are difficult to refine and difficult to find. But to the ancient furnace of great desolation, this isn't anything at all. It's like a drop in the bucket. Meat pies falling from the sky. This is definitely meat pies falling from the sky. This is an eternal fortuitous encounter. As long as we can snatch one of these balls of light, we can become rich overnight. We can save tens of thousands of years of cultivating magic power, and our cultivation will rise by leaps and bounds. What are we waiting for? Snatch them. Hurry up and snatch them. As everyone saw this, their eyes turned red. Their eyes were like those of rabbits, emitting an incomparably hot light. This scene was no different from a super rich person throwing money into the sky. As long as they could snatch it, it would belong to them. There was no way they could hold back. Even a highly respected Buddhist monk wouldn't be able to endure such an astonishing scene. After all, this was related to one's own cultivation and the grand Tao of immortality. Who could avoid this? Pills. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He could also feel countless balls of light falling from the sky. Immediately, several of these balls of light flew towards him. Each ball of light contained tens of thousands of pills. They seemed to be stored in a spatial bottle and emitted a rich pill smell. It was as if just smelling it would cause one's cultivation to rise. This was the symbol of a top pill. It was priceless. There were people in the surroundings who were getting restless, trying to snatch these balls of light. Infernal golden crow claw. In the blink of an eye, Xiaoping took a step forward. A dark golden claw grabbed out from the void, creating a terrifying vortex that seemed to form a huge black hole. Boom! In the next second, more than a dozen balls of light flew toward the giant claw at lightning speed, as if they were being pulled by gravity, and fell into Xiaoping's hands. Damned human brat, immediately hand over all the pills inside, or you'll be killed without mercy. An early-stage lightning tribulation realm demon king multicolored tiger charged over from afar. It let out an earth-shattering roar. Its eyes were red and contained a shocking killing intent. It rode on the black demonic wind, and its mountain-like body pounced over. It emitted a terrifying aura, as if the sky was about to collapse. Tiger shatters heaven and earth. The Demon King multicolored tiger used a supreme killer move right from the start. It contained the terrifying magic power of an early-stage lightning tribulation realm demon king. 2 tiger claws attacked, and there seemed to be a tiger god phantom behind it. The power of the tiger claws was earth-shattering. It seemed like it could tear everything apart. Even mica steel, dark gold stone, and other cosmic-grade materials couldn't withstand it, and would be torn into countless pieces, let alone flesh and blood. Human brat, how dare you take all the pills for yourself? Kill without mercy. Anyone who dares to stop me will die. All of you die. These pills all belong to this king. You bunch of trash, scram. Apart from the Demon King multicolored tiger, more than a dozen demon kings flew over from all directions. They were at least lightning tribulation realm experts. There were venomous crows, emerald birds, blood moon wolves, earth bears, and so on. They were all famous and tyrannical demon kings of the demon race. The other Transcendence Realm demon kings didn't dare to move at all, because they knew that they would die if they approached. They would be instantly torn into pieces by the power of the Lightning Tribulation Realm demon kings. Rumble! The demon kings attacked from all directions. They contained boundless killing intent, and interweaved into a huge net that enveloped the area completely. It seemed like they wanted to destroy this area completely. Countless beams of light bombarded, seemingly piercing through the void. There was no way to avoid them. Scram! Xiaoping raised his head and looked at the group of demon kings. He didn't move, but the 9 purple mansions in his body vibrated. A tyrannical magic power rushed out from the depths of his body and rushed into the sky. Immediately, a divine elephant that was 10,000 feet tall stepped out of the void. It emitted an unparalleled pressure that shook the world and the void. This power was so tyrannical that it made people's hair stand on end. It seemed like the space couldn't withstand this unparalleled power, and was about to shatter. It didn't seem to make any movements. It just lightly bumped forward, and immediately, a terrifying power blasted out. All the air in the surroundings was repelled, forming a vacuum within a radius of 10,000 miles. And the air condensed into a terrifying pressure wall. It was compressed crazily with boundless power. Dong! In an instant, the rainbow tiger, the venomous crow, the emerald bird, the blood moon wolf, the great earth bear, and the other demon kings did not even have the time to scream. Their bodies were hit by this powerful force, and their bodies instantly exploded into pieces, turning into meat paste. Blood fell from the sky like rain, dyeing the area within a radius of 100 miles into a blood-colored lake. Immediately, these dozen demon kings died tragically. Not even their bones were left. Fuck, what the fuck happened? They're all dead. Some lightning tribulation realm demon kings, who were a step late, were instantly scared to the point of wetting their pants. They retreated as fast as they came, as if they had encountered a poisonous snake. They were scared out of their wits, because those were lightning tribulation realm demon kings. They were existences on the same level as them. It was extremely difficult to kill such almighty beings. But what was going on now? This human merely used his heaven and earth manifestation, and lightly bumped into them. And the dozen demon kings' bodies were smashed to pieces. They didn't even have time to scream. This was too exaggerated. Was he still human? Some of the Transcendence Realm demon kings were so scared that their faces turned green. Those Thunder Tribulation Realm demon kings died so easily. If this human demon god were to deal with them, wouldn't he be able to kill them with just a breath? Sorry, because I just broke through. I couldn't control my strength. They were smashed to pieces with a light bump. What a pity. These are all demon kings' superior labor force. They're suitable to be captured and used as laborers to farm. Xiaoping patted his head with an apologetic expression. It was a pity to kill these demon kings. His pearl of mountains and rivers lacked manpower. If he captured all these demon kings and used them as laborers, he didn't know how much the Green Ox's workload would be reduced. After all, such slaves were not easy to find. Wu Wudi, this guy is the human demon Wu Wudi. Fuck, run, run. Chapter 1909. What? the ferocious Wuwudi of the human race. Upon hearing those words, all the monster kings present were so scared that they peed their pants. Their guts were shattered, and their eyes were filled with endless fear. Wuwudi's reputation was like a tree's shadow. If it was a few years ago, no one would have known this kid. He was just a nobody. But over the years, this guy had been fighting everywhere, causing trouble everywhere. He had done many shocking things. He had offended the Mystic Heaven sect, the 10,000 Poison sect, the Heavenly Reflection sect, the Buddhist sect, the Angel clan, the Wolf clan, the Elephant clan, the Sucking Blood clan, and many other terrifying forces. Recently, he had become even more rampant. He had even offended the Palace of Darkness, the Thunder Demon clan, and other major forces. He was unscrupulous and boundless. Now everyone knew this bold Wuwudi. Even many forces in the central universe knew this troublemaker. The problem was that even though this kid was so arrogant, offending people everywhere, and killing geniuses of major forces, he was still alive and well. No one could do anything to him. This guy's reputation was built on killing. Countless demon kings had died in his hands. No one would dare to say that there was a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Fuck, he's the legendary Wuwudi of the human race. How did he encounter this ferocious god? He's so unlucky. No wonder he killed Thunder Tribulation Realm demon kings like killing chickens. A demon king was scared to death. Its face was pale. After knowing that this person was Wuwudi, it immediately understood that even though this kid looked like he was at the mid-stage of the Transcendence realm, his combat power was terrifying. How many Thunder Tribulation Realm demon kings had died in this kid's hands? There was a whole bunch of them. Run quickly. This kid is crazy. Not only does this bastard kill demon kings, but he also kills human mighty figures when he's mad. The corpses of mighty figures that have died in his hands are enough to pile up a mountain. Many demon kings were scared and wanted to retreat. They didn't want to continue fighting for these pills. This was because the ferocious and invincible reputation of the human race was too terrifying. They were afraid before the battle even started. This was the use of reputation. Sometimes, reputation alone was enough to shock all the races in the world. You bunch of cowards. You're just a mere human, and a transcendence ant at that. You're so scared before the battle even starts. Are you still demon kings? He's no different from a dog. It's so funny. A demon king of the elephant race shouted angrily, berating this group of cowardly bandits. They hadn't even fought yet, but they were already scared to such a state by a mere human. This was simply a disgrace to the demon race. Although it had heard of Wuwudi's reputation, in its eyes, it was just a rumor made up by the human race. How could a mere human be so terrifying? If it was too exaggerated, it would instead highlight the unreality. It knew that those humans liked to brag. Things that were originally the size of a grain of rice were boasted to be as big as a planet. What's wrong? You bunch of gutless bandits. I've seen through your thoughts. So you don't dare to speak anymore? I knew that all of you were as timid as mice. You're all useless things. I don't know how you managed to cultivate to this realm. Seeing that none of the demon monarchs dared to speak, the elephant demon monarch felt even more smug. He felt that he had suppressed these demon monarchs. He felt as though he was the king of demon monarchs, and his ego was about to swell to no end. Elephant demon monarch, look behind you. An eagle demon king gulped, and said with a trembling voice. There was terror in the depths of his eyes. Look behind you. What are you looking at? You're just causing trouble for no reason. The elephant demon monarch cursed and turned around. His pupils immediately constricted because the human, Wuwudi, had appeared behind him out of nowhere, and was looking at him with a smile. You're the elephant demon monarch? You have a good physique, and are very strong. It seems like you're a good slave. Xiaoping touched his chin, and grabbed with his large hand. Slave my ass. Human, you're courting death. The elephant demon monarch roared. He felt a great sense of danger. As though the god of death had descended, he unleashed all the demonic power in his body, as though he was tearing the void apart. There was no doubt that this was the peak of his combat strength in his life. He unleashed all the dermic powers in his body in an instant. This power was enough to tear apart any demon monarch. However, the large hand pressed down like an eagle catching a chick. Dong! With just one palm, the elephant demon monarch's shield of vigor instantly shattered. The divine powers and dermic powers that erupted from his body were instantly shaken into nothingness. The terrifying force seeped into his internal organs, causing him to bleed from his 7 orifices. With a snap, all his limbs broke. He knelt on the ground on the spot, and his huge body collapsed into the ground. No, no, no. I'm the elephant demon monarch, the demon monarch of the elephant clan. If you dare to harm me, my clan's patriarch will not spare you. Absolutely not. The elephant demon monarch screamed in horror. At this moment he finally knew what fear was. He finally understood why Wu Wudi had such a great reputation that made many demon monarchs tremble in fear. As an elephant, the power and dermic powers he possessed were simply a joke in front of this human. He was as weak as a 3-year-old child, and had no power to resist at all. However, it was already too late for him to understand this. Oh, tell your patriarch to bite me. With a snap, Xiaoping grabbed with his large hand, and instantly dragged the elephant demon monarch into the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. He was completely suppressed, and from then on, he would be a slave in the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers day and night. Oh my God! When the many demon monarchs saw this scene, they were even more frightened. That was the famous elephant demon monarch. His dermic power stood at the peak of all demon monarchs, and he had immense strength. But now, he was captured just like an eagle capturing a chick. He easily captured the elephant demon monarch, and locked him up as a slave. What ferocious might was this? Retreat, retreat quickly. We are no match for this human demon. Hurry up and escape. Don't stay here and send yourselves to death. The many demon monarchs roared angrily and scattered like monkeys when a tree fell. They fled in all directions, hoping to escape with their lives. Don't run anymore. Come back, thousand-armed Buddha. Xiaoping's body trembled, and a thousand-armed Buddha immediately appeared. It emitted boundless golden light that pierced through heaven and earth. Golden hands traversed the void and slammed down from the sky. Dong! 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 Within a 500-kilometer radius, the demon monarchs had nowhere to run. A golden hand slammed down like catching a chick. They were instantly captured. Even if they used their divine powers and dermic powers, they were instantly defeated and turned into a ball of essence chi. Ah! The demon monarchs let out tragic cries. Their bodies were severely injured, and their bones were broken. They could not help but spit out a large mouthful of blood. They were half dead from the slap, and could not resist at all. The group of demon monarchs immediately became dispirited, and could no longer move. Capture. Chapter 1910. At this moment, the demon kings 500 kilometers away were scared out of their wits when they saw this scene. They no longer dared to fight with Xiaoping for the pills. All of them wished that their parents had given them a few more pairs of wings. They quickly fled into the distance, afraid that they would be captured, and turned into slaves by Xiaoping. In an instant, there was almost no sign of human habitation within a radius of 5,000 kilometers. No demon king dared to stay here, and even the humans fled. Who didn't know that this was a peerless demon, who would even capture humans when he became savage? What a great place! Looks like I have to seize the opportunity to capture a few more primordial species, and plunder more pills. Xiaoping touched his chin. He sensed the dozen or so light orbs he had obtained. There were too many pills in them. 10 billion universe dollars was insufficient to describe the value of these pills. Obtaining a single light orb was enough to make a lightning tribulation realm powerhouse green with envy. If he wanted to advance to the lightning tribulation realm, or even higher realms, he would need to consume unimaginable pills. He had to seize every opportunity, and plunder a large number of fortuitous opportunities. Swoosh! Xiaoping's figure flashed, and he immediately flew toward the east. His divine sense sensed that dozens of light orbs had fallen there. A large number of experts had gathered there, and were frantically fighting over them. On a plain, many lightning tribulation realm powerhouses were fighting over the pills. They used all their strength and fought fiercely. The surrounding world's energy shook crazily, as if a nuclear bomb had exploded. Fortunately, this mysterious continent was extremely tough. Even if these lightning tribulation realm powerhouses used all their strength, they couldn't damage it at all. Otherwise, an ordinary planet would have collapsed long ago. All of you scram. In the blink of an eye, a peerless demon dressed in blue roared angrily and unleashed a supreme divine ability. It turned into numerous mountains and oceans that covered the sky and earth, sweeping through everything in its path. In an instant, all the great powers in the surroundings were blasted away. Boom! In the next second, he reached out and grabbed 2 or 3 balls of light, then put the pills into his bag. This was the famous old demon of mountains and seas. He came from the myriad demons' nest of the southern universe, and was so savage that even the myriad poison sect was extremely fearful of him. Haha, these pills are all mine now. After succeeding in his attack, old demon Sea and Mountain wanted to flee. Even though he had just used a supreme divine ability to send many mighty beings flying, and had taken the lead, it was still impossible for him to deal with so many mighty beings. Benefactor, this item is fated with me. Would you be willing to part with it? With a whoosh, a figure immediately appeared behind old demon of mountains and seas. It was Xiaoping. He put his palms together, and his eyes shone as if there were stars in them. He had a sincere expression on his face. Cut your mother. You still want to cut your treasures? Die. When the old demon of mountains and seas heard someone say something behind him, he was scared half to death. There was actually someone who could appear behind him without him noticing. If this person was plotting against him, wouldn't he be as good as dead? However, he could also be considered a peerless demon who had experienced hundreds of battles. He immediately reacted and began to counterattack. Demonic Mountain Sea Fist. Old demon of mountains and seas roared furiously and punched out. All of his magic power surged out, and a Dharma idol of the heaven and earth rapidly condensed, turning into a 30,000-meter tall mountain and a boundless ocean. However, this wasn't an ordinary mountain. It was a mountain formed from skeletons, corpses, and other things. It emitted a terrifying black malevolent aura, and endless resentment. This ocean wasn't an ordinary ocean either. It was a sea of blood, as if it was formed from the blood of various races and living beings in the universe. It was unknown how many terrifying vengeful spirits and evil spirits were hidden in the depths of the sea. The 30,000-meter tall mountain and the sea of blood came crashing down. The terrifying black malevolent aura corroded the space, as if it was going to dye the world into a dark demonic domain, turning it into an abyssal world. Why are you angry? This item isn't fated with Benefactor. If you forcefully ask for it, you'll probably suffer a calamity. Xiaoping smiled faintly and remained unmoved. He pressed down his palm lightly. Boom! Immediately, the mountain and the sea of blood seemed to be pressed down by a dark golden Buddha's hand from the void. A terrifying power crushed down from all directions, enveloping everything. What? Old demon of mountains and seas was shocked. He couldn't believe it. He felt that all of his magic power were being completely suppressed. It was as if the entire world had become his enemy. Even the endless malevolent aura on his body couldn't erupt. It was firmly suppressed, as if he had been grabbed by a Buddha and brought into the palm of China. He couldn't break free no matter how he tried. This wasn't some kind of magic power. It was purely a supreme magic power that suppressed others with brute force. However, he was a peerless demon, a lightning tribulation almighty. Apart from sages, who could use magic power to suppress him to this extent. This was too exaggerated. Who are you? Old demon of mountains and seas' expression was gloomy as he stared at Xiaoping. I'm Wu Wudi, Xiaoping said. Wu Wudi, why you're that rumored lunatic? Old demon of mountains and seas was instantly shocked. Although he had never seen Wu Wudi before, he knew of Wu Wudi's illustrious reputation. Wu Wudi seemed like a rising star, but the things he did made even old demon of mountains and seas sigh. Wu Wudi was a true demon. He did whatever he wanted, and was unscrupulous. Although he had committed countless evil deeds and killed people like scything flax, he was simply bullying the weak. If he had to offend the Palace of Darkness, the Buddhist sect, the Angel Clan, and other powers, he wouldn't do it even if he was beaten to death. After all, he didn't despise his long life. Since you're Wu Wuti, you can have half of these light orbs. After knowing Wu Wuti's reputation, Old Demon of Mountains and Seas immediately wanted to retreat. There was no need to clash with this lunatic. Half. You've misunderstood. I want all of these things. Xiaoping said. All of them. Hearing this, Old Demon of Mountains and Seas immediately exploded. He said angrily, Wu Wuti, don't be so shameless. I've painstakingly obtained these pills. And you want to take them all away with just a sentence? What right do you have? Ah. Before he could finish his words, a tyrannical force came crashing down. Boom. In the next second, Old Demon of Mountains and Seas' body exploded like a smashed watermelon. Even his primordial spirit was obliterated. Sigh, maybe my attitude is too good, causing this demon to misunderstand something. He still thinks that there's room for negotiation, and that he can bargain with me. After living for so many years, he's still so naive. I don't know if his life is too comfortable, don't you think? Xiaoping crushed Old Demon of Mountains and Seas, and put away the light orbs. He stood with his hands behind his back and lamented. The surrounding mighty figures were sweating profusely. Their bodies were trembling, and a chill rose from the soles of their feet to the top of their heads. Fuck, this is a true peerless demon. He was still smiling and talking to you a second ago, and then he was crushed in the next. He did things as he pleased without any scruples. With such a personality, he would be an idiot if he didn't have strength. However, this kid just happened to have invincible strength. He was a demon among demons. But that ball of light was clearly different from the other balls of light. It emitted golden light like a sun, emitting a scorching aura. It was high and mighty above everything. Obviously, this ball of light must have an incredible treasure. Otherwise, such a phenomenon wouldn't have appeared. Perhaps the creation pill was inside this ball of light. Let's go. Xiaoping's figure flickered, and he immediately chased after them. Soon, the group of unconscious supreme beings woke up one by one after Xiaoping left. They immediately saw the changes in their bodies, and their expressions changed drastically. Someone immediately screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Oh my God, the peerless spirit artifact, the everlasting lava spear, that I spent many years collecting materials and refining for hundreds of years is gone. That damned bastard stole it. It's my natal magic treasure, a powerful magic treasure that has a chance of advancing to a sage artifact. We even sleep together. It's my wife, but it's gone just like that. It was stolen by that damned bastard. No. My yin-yang mysterious dragon pill is a supreme-grade pill I refined after collecting dragon blood, dragon horns, and other dragon materials, as well as 108 yin and yang spirit herbs. It took me 10 years to refine. One such pill can be exchanged for a planet, but now it's gone. It's all gone. I've become a pauper. Some supreme beings were heartbroken and filled with extreme grief and indignation. Wu Wuti, that damned bastard, I won't forgive him. I definitely won't forgive him. I'll fight him for the rest of my life. Blocking one's path to wealth is like killing one's parents. He stole my life's treasures. I won't rest until he's dead. Plucking the goose's feathers. That bastard plucked the goose's feathers. He even took away my underwear. He didn't even leave me a pair of underwear. Is he the reincarnation of the Taotai race? How can I meet people like this? That bastard is simply insane. He's the enemy of the human race. And he even carved words on our bodies. This is a disgrace, a great disgrace. I must fight it out with him. I'll take him down with me when I meet him. Chapter 1912. Xiaoping ignored the resentment of the Almighties who had been plundered by him. He used his extreme speed and chased after the golden ball of light with all his might. However, when he arrived at his destination, he found that he was too late. Several forces had already arrived at this place, but they formed a triangular formation. They were balanced and wary of each other, and no one dared to act rashly. The golden ball of light floated in midair. There didn't seem to be many pills inside, only 3. However, these 3 elixirs were not simple. They were about the size of a fist, and countless complex and mysterious runes appeared on the surface of the elixirs. They emitted a powerful medicinal power, and seemed to have a very strong spiritual nature. Xiaoping could sense that these 3 elixirs seemed to be alive. They had become a different kind of energy life form. Without a doubt, these were the famous saint-level elixirs, the fortune elixir. The others also noticed this situation. Their eyes became even more fervent, and they looked determined. After all, this was a great opportunity to become a saint. No one would miss it. I have to succeed. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He looked at these forces, and found that he seemed to know them all. Some of the powerful figures were from the Palace of Darkness, including Xiang Yuandong and the others. Some were from the Holy Land of Taichu. Their leader seemed to be called Su Chang. There were also forces from the Buddhist sect, the Angel Clan, the Demon Clan, the Den of 10,000 Demons, the Elephant Clan, the Primordial Remnant Species, and so on. They were also attracted by the golden ball of light. Friends, how have you been? With a whoosh, Xiaoping's figure flashed, and he immediately broke into the crowd, appearing in front of everyone. What? Everyone present was shocked. They did not expect that there would be a fool who would dare to openly break into a place where so many forces were gathered. However, when they saw who it was, their expressions became very ugly. Wu Wudi, how dare you appear in front of us again? Xiang Yuandong from the Palace of Darkness was the first to jump out. He stared at Xiaoping with a very gloomy face, and his killing intent was boiling. He did not expect to meet Wu Wudi again so soon. He remembered clearly what had happened before. As an inner disciple of the Palace of Darkness, he should have been invincible, with a mid-grade divine artifact. However, he did not expect that a genius like him would be tricked by this despicable and shameless Wu Wudi. He became his opponent's shield, allowing this bastard to reap all the benefits. Oh, so it's Xiang Yuandong from the Palace of Darkness. You're still alive? I thought you were bitten to death by those abyssal demons. You're really lucky, said Xiaoping in surprise. Scram! I won't die even if you die. Xiang Yuandong was infuriated. This bastard was still wondering why he wasn't dead. Was it because he tricked him and thought that he was dead for sure? This bastard was too despicable. He wanted nothing more than to grab Wu Wudi and tear him into pieces. Wu Wudi, you've caused the deaths of so many Buddhist elders. You've committed a heinous crime, yet you still dare to show off? Do you think that our Buddhist sect is incapable? A group of Buddhist sect elders glared at Xiaoping. The hatred between the Buddhist sect and Wu Wudi could be traced back to the Western universe. At that time, this bastard had pretended to be an eminent Buddhist monk and caused great harm to the Luohan people and the Buddhist sect, causing them to suffer heavy losses. Now, because of this brat's schemes, many Buddhist sect elders had died tragically at the hands of the abyssal demons. The new and old hatred added together was simply indescribable. Masters, you're wrong. If they didn't have the intention to harm others, how could they have been harmed? This is karma. Moreover, they died at the hands of the abyssal demons. They died a worthy death. They helped the people get rid of evil and fed their bodies to the demons. We should celebrate. Why be angry? Xiaoping was calm and composed. Bullshit. Hearing this, no matter how cultured the Buddhist sect elders were, they could not help but curse at Wu Wudi for bullshit. Everyone was dumbfounded. A dignified Buddhist sect monk was actually angered to this extent by this brat. One could imagine how despicable this bastard was. Even Buddha was angry. Don't talk about this nonsense. Do you know that you've committed a heinous crime by capturing so many primordial species? Immediately release the baleful crow demon bird, Fei, and the other primordial species. Otherwise, there's no place for you in the vast universe. At this time, a group of primordial species jumped out and looked at Xiaoping with unfriendly expressions. Although the relationship between the primordial species was not good, they still had an organization called the Archaic Alliance. And this alliance was formed by many primordial species to protect themselves. The goal was to prevent the young primordial species from being captured. This organization could be considered one of the top forces in the universe. Therefore, after hearing this news, all the primordial species were furious. This had violated the Archaic Alliance's taboo. It was a serious crime, and he immediately became the primordial species' public enemy. The Buddhist sect, Palace of Darkness, Holy Land of Taichu, and other forces all looked at Xiaoping with schadenfreude. They felt that this brat had offended the Archaic Alliance. Although the Archaic Alliance was not as powerful as the Palace of Darkness, they were few in number and extremely united. Offending one was equivalent to offending a whole group. Even some demonic organizations did not dare to offend the Archaic Alliance, for fear of provoking some old monster. This brat had a face full of ignorance. He did not even know what kind of serious crime he had committed. You captured them with your own ability. Why release them? Xiaoping blinked his eyes. The group of primordial species exploded with anger. They had run amok in the universe for so long, but they had never seen such an arrogant human. He had captured so many of their primordial species as slaves, and yet he was still so arrogant. He did not put the Archaic Alliance at all. All right, I'm not here to chat with you. I'm here to get the fortune pill. Xiaoping waved his hand. He did not want to continue talking nonsense. He went straight to the point. Seeing how afraid you are of each other, you don't dare to make a move, afraid that both sides will suffer. Why don't you give all these fortune pills to me? That way, there will be no reason for you to fight, and there will be no need for both sides to suffer. You can coexist peacefully, and I can get the fortune pill. This is the best of both worlds. Everyone will benefit. What do you think? He made his own suggestion. Scram. Scram as far away as the universe can go. Damn, I've never seen such a shameless person. Best of both worlds. No matter how I look at it, you're the one who will get all the benefits. This Wuwudi is so thick-skinned. Does he really think we're stupid? Everyone cursed loudly. They had never heard such a shameless suggestion before. Wanting to take the good fortune pill for themselves? What a wishful thinking. Chapter 1913. So we can't come to an agreement. Xiaoping spread out his hands, feeling that this group of people was very unfriendly. It would be a miracle if they could come to an agreement. Everyone looked at Xiaoping with disdain. This bastard was purely benefiting from this. They didn't get anything at all. How could they come to an agreement? Did he think they were fools? Moreover, the creation pill was a sacred level pill, extremely precious. It was the foundation of becoming a sage. Who would give it up? Even if there were countless casualties, they would still get a creation pill. They would never give it up. Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, before anyone could react, Xiaoping's figure flashed and instantly grabbed the golden ball of light in his hand, easily putting it into his pocket. Since we can't come to an agreement, then let's not talk anymore. I'm taking these creation pills. We'll meet again in the future, Xiaoping said carelessly. He took advantage of the moment when everyone was unprepared and grabbed the golden ball of light. In fact, no one present thought that this kid would dare to do such a thing. After all, there were so many people watching. Who would dare to make a move under the watchful eyes of so many people? Did he have a death wish? Screw you. You want to take the creation pills away just like that? Have you asked for my permission? Xiang Yuandong was furious. If he really let this kid take the creation pills away so brazenly, then he would really be too ashamed to face others. He didn't know how many people would laugh at him. In an instant, he pulled out the Origin White Bone Sword, a mid-grade saint weapon, because he knew how terrifying Wuwudi was. Wuwudi's powers were so thick that there was no end to it. Without using a saint weapon, there was no way he could keep this kid here. Boom! He activated all the magic power in his body and slashed with the Origin White Bone Sword in his hand. Thousands of white sword auras blasted down, forming a peerless sword formation that covered a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers. Each white sword aura contained chilling, mysterious, penetrative, and tearing auras. It was as if it was going to tear the entire space into pieces. Even a star would be sliced into countless pieces by this sword. Stay here. How dare you attack in front of so many people? Do you know how to write the word death? Su Chong from the Holy Land of Taichu made his move. He immediately took out a red broadsword that reached into the sky and was surrounded by terrifying flames like fire snakes. Low-grade saint artifact, flowing blade like fire blade. He slashed out at Xiaping. Terrifying flames gathered into a line, as if wanting to tear this space in half and burn the world. Everyone could feel the terror of this blade. Not only was it sharp, but it also contained the power of the mystical flame. It was a terrifying mystical flame that could even burn one's soul. Even the slightest contact would cause one's entire body to be incinerated. Wu Wuti, you peerless demon, today is the day you die. You want to escape? Dream on. Many of the Buddhist faction's experts also attacked and roared angrily. They immediately took out a transparent bead with a swastika symbol engraved on it. There seemed to be a supreme Buddhist scripture inside it. This was a low-grade sacred artifact of the Buddhist sects, whirling prayer beads. As soon as the pearl appeared, golden scriptures burst forth. The countless scriptures intertwined together, seemingly forming a kingdom of Buddha, and the chanting of countless Buddhas could be heard. Rumble, this kingdom of Buddha instantly pressed down on Xiaping. It was as if the entire void was being suppressed. No demons or ghosts could escape under the power of the Buddhist sections. Rays of golden Buddhist light intertwined with each other, forming a huge net that pierced through the void. This kid is dead for sure. The surrounding almighties all sneered. Now that the three forces were attacking at the same time, with the three saint artifacts in their hands, any Thunder Retribution Realm almighty would be killed, let alone this junior, who was only in the middle stage of the Transcendence realm. No matter how cunning this kid was, in the face of absolute power, he was as weak as an ant. Presumably, today was the day that Wu Wuti would be killed. This scourge of the universe would finally disappear, returning the universe to a bright and clear world. Do you think you're the only ones with sacred artifacts? Come out, Brahma Divine Fire Crafting Cauldron. With a thought, Xiaping immediately took out the Brahma Divine Fire Crafting Cauldron that he had obtained previously. The huge cauldron instantly stood in the void, enveloping Xiaping's entire body. At the same time, a supreme array was activated, communicating with the dimension of fire, opening a wormhole. Walalab, in the blink of an eye, a terrifying Brahma Divine Fire erupted from the Brahma Divine Fire Crafting Cauldron. This was a transcendent deviant flame that the Good Fortune Saint had plucked from the depths of the primal chaos. Its might was boundless. Now that it erupted, the surrounding area for hundreds of millions of kilometers turned into a sea of fire. It was as if even the land itself was being melted. Rocks turned to lava and volcanoes erupted. Dong dong dong. The Palace of Darkness Xiang Yuandong never imagined that this boy would have a medium-grade sacred artifact on him. He thought that he was the only one with such an artifact, and could deal with Wu Wuti. In a moment of carelessness, the white sword lights were instantly destroyed, and his body was sent flying backwards. He didn't know how far he flew, but even the origin white bone sword in his hand was sent flying away. With a puff, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His lungs had been injured. Wisps of Brahma Divine Fire wrapped around the origin white bone sword, as if they were fighting to the death with the white bone spirit fire. The origin white bone sword turned red and lost a portion of its divine might. Damn it! Su Chong from the Holy Land of Taichu was the most miserable. He realized that the flowing fire blade in his hand was no match for the Brahma Divine Fire Crafting Cauldron. Not only was the sacred artifact inferior, but even the flame power contained in his blade was no match for the cauldron. With just one blow, the Brahma Divine Fire devoured the flame power of the flowing fire blade, like a big fish devouring a small fish. After suffering such a heavy blow, his entire body was sent flying by a ball of flame. His entire body was burned like charcoal, and even his hair was burned clean. It was as if he had shaved his head. Oh no, this is the Brahma Divine Fire. The whirling prayer beads are no match for it. Retreat, retreat quickly. The expressions of many Buddhist almighties changed drastically. They had scriptures that recorded that the Brahma Divine Fire was one of the supreme flames of the Buddhist almighties, comparable to the Buddhist karmic fire. The whirling prayer beads were a sealing treasure. but they couldn't withstand the burning of the Brahma divine fire. Dong dong dong. With just one move, countless golden scriptures in the depths of the void were pierced, and large holes were burned. The entire array was easily torn apart and completely shattered. The whirling prayer beads were also severely damaged, and seemed to be dispirited. "Wu Woody, you bastard!" Many Buddhist almighties were furious. This was one of the supreme treasures of the Buddhist almighties, and now it was damaged to such an extent. This was a loss that no amount of treasures could make up for. Chapter 1914. A medium-grade saint artifact, the Brahma Divine Flame Furnace? Isn't that the good fortune saint's treasure? How could you have it? A supreme elder immediately cried out, not daring to believe his eyes. He had a deep understanding of the good fortune saint, and knew that he had all sorts of saint artifacts and magic treasures. Among them, the Brahma Divine Flame Furnace was one of the most famous magic treasures. After all, the Brahma Divine Flame was a deviant flame of the universe. Even a saint coveted it, and it was extremely difficult to obtain it. Countless Buddhist supreme elders wanted to snatch it away. This was because it would be of great benefit to their cultivation. Is there even a need to ask? This brat must have run into some dog shit luck, and obtained the Brahma Divine Flame Furnace somewhere. Some people were green with envy. They had worked hard for 3 months, but hadn't found many treasures. It was a complete waste of effort. But who would have thought that Wu Woody's luck would be so good, that he could even obtain the medium-grade saint artifact, the Brahma Divine Flame Furnace? He couldn't understand why the gap between people was so great. Haha, a bunch of poor ghosts. Don't compare me to you. Although saint artifacts are precious, I have plenty on me. I can casually take out dozens of them. Xia Ping stood with his hands clasped behind his back, looking very proud. Keep bragging. In any case, there's no tax on bragging. The group of supreme elders disdainfully said. But in their hearts, they were skeptical, because according to how heaven-defying this brat was, he might really have many saint artifacts on him. Thinking of this, they became even more fanatical. As long as they could kill this brat, they would definitely be able to obtain many secret treasures. I'm not playing with you anymore. Xia Ping's figure flashed, and he quickly fled outside. In any case, he had already obtained the pills. There was no need to fight this group head-on. Don't even think of running. Glory Scepter, Angel Kingdom. It was at this moment that the angel race took action. A great angel elder took out a white scepter. Medium-grade saint artifact, Glory Scepter. The white scepter gently waved and endless white light gushed out. It was incomparably holy, turning the surrounding hundreds of millions of kilometers into a white kingdom. Beams of holy light fell down from the sky. In God's kingdom, no one can move. The group of angels sang praises as pure angelic power poured into the scepter. The entire angel kingdom condensed into a corporeal form, turning into an absolute domain. What? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He could feel that the space around him had been completely sealed. His body felt as though it had sunk into a swamp, and he could not move at all. It was as though the power of the surrounding void was exerting itself on his body. Useless demon. Under the scepter of glory, any power is useless. Just surrender. I will take you back to the angel kingdom, and purify you day and night. The Archangel Grand Elder sneered. He waved his hand again, and the entire angel kingdom trembled. Beams of white light transformed into chains of order. Dong! In an instant, tens of thousands of white chains of order appeared on Xia Ping's body. Each chain contained a terrifying sealing power, as if they were trying to suppress him completely. The angels were excited to the extreme. Now they could finally suppress and seal this kid. They believed that under the glory scepter, no enemy could do anything. Haha, Wu Woody, it's finally your turn to be unlucky. Kill him while he's down. Kill this kid. Don't give him any chance. Kill him without mercy. Eliminate him. The holy land of Taichu, the palace of darkness, the Buddhist sects, the primordial descendants, and other forces did not show any mercy when they saw this. They all rushed over and bombarded him with the power of martial arts. It seemed to form a torrent of energy that could destroy everything. Reincarnation brush. One stroke to determine life and death. One stroke to turn into reincarnation. Xia Ping was expressionless. He did not move at all. But the reincarnation brush immediately flew out of his body and grew with the wind, turning into a giant brush that was tens of thousands of meters tall. The brush trembled, and the tip of the brush contained an unparalleled sharpness. It gently drew at the angel kingdom, and a terrifying black sharpness burst out. Dong! With just one blow, the entire white kingdom was torn in half. Even all the chains of order on Xia Ping's body were cut and completely shattered into pieces. The angels had not expected such a turn of events. Because the angel kingdom had been torn apart, a massive backlash had invaded their bodies, causing their internal organs to be injured. They could not help but cough up blood. Impossible! What kind of magic treasure is this? How can it tear apart the power of the scepter of glory? The group of angels almost went crazy. They worshipped their own power fanatically. And the scepter of glory was a supreme magic treasure bestowed by an archangel. It should be invincible. They had also used the scepter of glory to spread the glory of the Lord, and the glory of the Lord everywhere. But today, they had indeed failed and were completely defeated. What a powerful sharpness! It's countless times sharper than the white bone sword in my hand. Is this a high-grade divine artifact, or a supreme-grade divine artifact? Xiang Yuandong of the Palace of Darkness also felt his hair stand on end. He felt great pressure and threat. It seemed that if this giant brush were to aim at him, he would be instantly dismembered. It was like a supreme magic treasure that controlled the life and death of living beings. It was unfathomable and unimaginable. A group of birdmen dares to sneak attack me? I gave you face, but you don't want it. If that's the case, then die. Xia Ping held the reincarnation brush like a god of the underworld walking out of the depths of hell. He gently drew the brush, as if dividing the yin and yang, and separating the 6 paths of reincarnation. Dong! The elder holding the scepter of glory didn't know what was going on. A black sharpness shot towards him, and his entire body was cut into countless pieces. Xia Ping made a grabbing motion, and the scepter of glory fell into his hand. Although the scepter of glory was still struggling, it was suppressed by Xia Ping's supreme magic power and the power of the reincarnation brush. Great Elder! Damn it! Put down the scepter of glory! That's the weapon of the angel race. How can we allow a heretic like you to blaspheme it? Kill, kill, kill. Kill this heretic. Take back the scepter of glory. The angels went crazy when they saw the scepter of glory in Xia Ping's hands. This was one of the supreme magic treasures of the angel race. They absolutely couldn't let it fall into the hands of others. They didn't fear death and pounced forward. Die! The reincarnation brush in Xia Ping's hand gently drew the brush again. A black light split the heaven and earth and swept across. Dong, dong, dong! Before the angels could even get close to Xia Ping, their entire bodies were cut in half. Moreover, not only their bodies were cut in half, even their souls were cut in half. Chapter 1915. Damned bald donkeys, you want to take advantage of me too? Xia Ping turned around, and immediately sensed a group of Buddhist supreme elders, controlling the whirling prayer beads to attack him. Buddhist scriptures blotted out the sky, forming a kingdom of Buddha. These Buddhist scriptures and runes contained supreme Buddhist power, as well as tyrannical Buddhist power. It was as if the void was collapsing, and all demonic power was purified. Clearly, this group of Buddhist supreme elders wanted to attack him from behind. They had endless killing intent. He held the reincarnation brush in his hand and gently swiped it. Boom! With just a single strike, countless golden scriptures instantly dispersed and were sliced into 8 to 10 pieces. The great figures of the Buddhist League were caught off guard, and their bodies were sliced into 2. Even the Buddhist supreme elders, who had cultivated the golden arhat body, couldn't resist it. Their flesh and blood couldn't withstand the sharp power of the reincarnation brush. It was as if there was nothing in the world that could resist the sharpness of the reincarnation brush. Impossible! Even the golden arhat body of Buddhism can't block the sharpness of this brush. Just what is its origin? Could it be another peerless treasure left behind by the saint of good fortune? Someone couldn't help but cry out in shock. The golden Arhat body of Buddhism was known as the Vajra body of Buddhism. Ordinary magic treasures couldn't leave the slightest mark on the body of the golden Arhat body. This kind of body tempering technique was famous throughout the universe. But now, this brush had destroyed the golden Arhat body with just a gentle stroke. It was simply unimaginable. This was definitely not a tyrannical magic treasure that an ordinary saint artifact could compare with. I'm not sure. I've never seen such a magic treasure before. I can only feel an endless sharp power from it. It's as if it can cut through space, time, and karma. A Thunder Tribulation Realm Supreme Elder had a solemn expression. Are you kidding me? Is it that exaggerated? Even a peerless saint artifact can't do this. You must have been fooled by Wuxia. Many people didn't believe such words. Of course, what I said is a bit exaggerated, but I have to admit that this brush is terrifying. It's definitely not something an ordinary magic treasure can compare with. I'd even believe it if someone said it was a peerless saint artifact. That person said in a deep voice. Damn it! Just how many treasures does he have on him? He can even bring out such a powerful magic treasure. The group of people gritted their teeth, feeling very indignant. They felt very helpless. Wuxia was too unfathomable. He had countless trump cards, and they did not know when he would appear again. They could not kill him no matter what. Previously, that kid didn't take out this Dharma treasure. Did he think that we didn't pose enough of a threat to him? Xiang Yuandong of the Palace of Darkness had an extremely ugly expression on his face. He felt that he and his men had been thoroughly underestimated. But when they thought about it, they couldn't even force the other party to reveal his true trump card. It was no wonder that the other party would look down on them. Instantly, he felt even more indignant. Whoosh! In the next second, Xia Ping made a grabbing motion with his hand, producing a huge suction force. The whirling prayer beads instantly fell into his hand. Stop it, you bastard! That's the sacred weapon of our Buddhist sect, the whirling prayer beads. How dare you snatch it from me? Hurry up and hand it over. When some of the powerful beings of the Buddhist sect caught sight of this, their eyes widened in shock. This was one of the supreme sacred weapons of their Buddhist sect. It contained terrifying power. Losing one of them was an unbearable loss, and it would cause the Buddhist sect to lose its foundation. Seeing Wuxia snatch the whirling prayer beads away, how could they sit still? The whirling prayer beads are the supreme treasures of our Buddhist sect. It was given to us by the Buddhist sage, and it contains the energy of the sage. Even if you snatch it away, you won't be able to refine it. If you return it now, there's still room for redemption. Otherwise, you will definitely be hunted down by the entire Buddhist sect. No matter where you hide, you won't be able to escape. That's right. This is not a treasure that you can snatch away. Hurry up and return the whirling prayer beads. Do you know how great of a crime you have committed? Even if you are imprisoned in the 10,000 demon pagoda for billions of years, it will still be difficult to make up for it. Demon, repent before it's too late, understand? Many of the powerful beings of the Buddhist sect were anxious. They hurriedly stepped forward to stop Xia Ping from taking the whirling prayer beads away. What does it have to do with me? It's mine if I snatch it. If you have the ability, then snatch it back. Xia Ping said disdainfully. How could he spit out the meat that was already in his mouth? As for the saint's energy within, ordinary people would not be able to refine it. The problem was he an ordinary person? With the system in hand, he could expel the sage's energy at any time, and take this treasure for himself. However, he had already snatched away 2 sacred artifacts, and the pill of good fortune. He could be considered to have made a fortune. There was no need for him to continue staying here. He should just run. Boom! Thinking of this, Xia Ping held the reincarnation brush in his hand, and gently pointed at the void in front of him. With a dong sound, a wormhole was immediately opened, connecting to the depths of the void. Whoosh! In the next second, his body was covered in the spatial energy of the black hole worm, and he immediately disappeared. Trying to escape? Chase after them immediately. One of the long-browed Buddhist almighties panicked. How could he let Wuxia escape with the whirling prayer beads? They were Buddhist almighties after all. Losing even one of them would be a serious crime. Not only did he not obtain the good fortune pill, but he also lost the whirling prayer beads. Even if he were to ponder over it for tens of thousands of years, he would not be able to make up for this loss. Don't chase him. But before he could get up, he was immediately pulled back by the Buddhist powerhouse beside him. Why not? Are we just going to watch him escape? Must we bring the whirling prayer beads back? The long-browed Buddhist powerhouse was furious and glared at his companion who stopped him. Can't you see that it's a wormhole? There must be a trap inside. If we chase after him, the kid will suddenly collapse the wormhole passage. We will immediately fall into the endless spatial turbulence and be torn to pieces by the spatial storm. That person said seriously and explained the reason why they could not chase after him. What? That kid ran away, and he can still set up a trap? The long-browed Buddhist powerhouse's eyes widened, and his expression was extremely ugly. Then his hair stood on end, and his body could not help but shiver. A chill rose from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. He immediately thought of Wu Wudi's ruthlessness and cunning. He had taken every possibility into account, and there were traps everywhere. If he really foolishly chased after him, he would definitely fall into the other party's trap and be thrown into the endless spatial turbulence. Probably even a sage would not be able to save him. Sigh, this bastard is extremely treacherous. We must not underestimate him. Those who dared to underestimate him are all dead. This is a lesson to be learned. Our Buddhist almighties have already suffered heavy losses this time. We can't afford to lose any more. Moreover, let him take the whirling prayer beads away. Anyway, there is a sage's divine consciousness left on them. If he dares to refine them, he will definitely be in trouble. Many Buddhist monks were helpless. Although they were not willing to let the Buddhist almighties be taken away, there was nothing they could do. That's the only way. The long-browed monk was helpless. The people from the Palace of Darkness and the Holy Land of Taichu also clenched their fists. They were a little glad that they had not been impulsive. Otherwise, their almighties would have been taken away by that kid. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.